we got a wee giggle this morning, me and you.
Okay, yeah. About my haircut.
Yeah. Well,
I have a moustache on the back of my head.
Did you ever see anybody with a moustache at the back of the head? See, nobody else would point this out to you.
No one else cares.
No, but I would just spit the dummy and tell
around, with lots of people around the place.
Explain now, just explain.
I shaved my own head and I missed a bit.
Yeah, well, you missed a good bit. It's like a moustache at the back of your head.
And we're not talking,
I send you the picture and you put it up on social media.
We're not talking a little moustaches. We're talking full on.
Big bush.
What's
the back?
The boy used to I can't remember his name. Anyway, it's a big one.
No, Magnum is it?
Magnum, yeah. I've got Magnum.
You have a Magnum at the back of your head.
Just draw his face in. The moustache is already there. It's embarrassing.
That's okay.
Right, I'll just keep looking straight.
You should let that grow, that wee bit grow now for November. What do you think?
Why don't you
start
go
a
home?
new trend?
Or whatever you do when you leave here.
All right, I'm away. Bye-bye.
Oh, God, what a start to the day. All right, then. It is the 9 till noon show, and it's over to Emma Ryan for a news update. Hi, Emma.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. The government is set to announce a bumper budget package worth more than €10 billion as it tries to battle the soaring cost of living. The plans will be largely aimed at young families, with students also set to significantly benefit. Political correspondent Sean Defoe reports.
Parents may get a number of benefits, a 25% reduction in childcare costs, leading to savings of between €1,200 and €2,100 per child, free primary school books and income tax changes worth €800 a year to those earning over 40 grand. Students will see €1,000 slashed from third level fees and a double payment of the student grant, along with the reduction in public transport fares of 20% being kept, while renters will get a €500 tax credit both this year and next. Core social welfare rates will be raised by €12 along with a €500 payment to carers and people with disabilities. Free contraception will be extended to people aged 30 and under. Publicly funded IVF will start next year, and 1,000 extra Gardaí will be recruited in 2023. Businesses will be given money to deal with energy price hikes up to €10,000 a month, with households to get 3 energy credits worth a total of €600.
A Donegal senator has supported a proposal for presidential voting rights to be extended into Northern Ireland. O'Grady Fianna Fáil launched the campaign at Stormont yesterday. Senator Niall Blaney says allowing people in the north to vote in presidential elections would be a huge step in building a shared future. He believes there is an appetite for it.
I met some MLAs on the unionist side. I met Tired, DUP, Speaker of the House, and we told them what we're about and explained the reasons for it, and they weren't completely anti and opposed to it. And I think given that where we've been coming from policy-wise in relation to shared island, they're starting to understand where we're coming from.
Any moves to make Ireland a cashless society will discriminate against our older citizens. That's according to a Donegal councillor who is calling on Minister for Finance Paschal Donoghue to ensure cash remains a key part of our day-to-day lives. A recent survey from the Dublin Mint office found 88% of those believe using contactless cards payments will leave behind a significant cohort of Irish people. Councillor Micheál Naughton says not everyone has access to the right technology to stay up to date with a fast-moving world.
It's a discrimination basically against our older generation and people on low income families, because they are dependent on cash and that. Not everybody has the iPhone. Not everybody has access to the internet.
To weather now, starting mostly cloudy with isolated showers, but some sunny spells will develop later in the day. Highest temperatures of 11 to 13 degrees. That's all for now. We'll be back with a news update again at 10 o'clock. But until then, good morning.
The cost of living crisis has us living in uncertain times. As prices constantly rise, it leaves us wondering, will everything that goes up always come down? With the budget speech comes more uncertainty. What impact will it have, and what will it mean for you? The Irish Independent look to answer the important questions in their budget supplement, an essential guide that explains how Budget 2023 impacts you and your finances. You'll find it in Wednesday's Irish Independent, up close and independent.
Would you like to win a Hyundai Kona car? Well, that's the first prize in the St Eunan's GA Club Development Draw, who are sponsors of this week's 9 till noon show. There's 9 other great prizes, and tickets are now available online at steunensgadraw.com or any club member.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest, the 9 to noon show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
And hello, a very good morning to you. It's just approaching 5 minutes past 9 on this Tuesday, the 27th of September 2022. How are you keeping? I hope you enjoyed your weekend. Of course, I should have said that to you yesterday, but I was off. Donal was in. Thank you, Donal, as always. 086 60 25,000. Our lines are there ready for you to make very, very busy. WhatsApps or texts. What's your expectations of today's budgets? What would you really like to see? I mean, we pretty much know everything that's in there now at this stage, don't we? But what do you think would really, really have made a difference? From what you've heard, do you think the government is doing as much as it possibly can to offset the rising cost of living, inflation? I think we couldn't expect them to do them all, or could we? 07491 25,000 if you want to get involved in that conversation as well. And it's a busy show. There's lots of different stuff on today. So stay tuned right up until 12 o'clock, by the way. If you tune out any of those hours, you do miss some great content. So stick with us as much as you can. If you want to watch the show, get on our website right now. The tab at the top beside Listen Live is Watch Live. We're live now. Or you can click on the links that are on the website there. Or go on to YouTube, Highland Radio Ireland. Say hello to us there across our Facebook pages too. It's just an option for you to watch if you wish. And for those of you who have audio issues, there are captions on our Facebook streams as well, which is useful to some people out there. Let's see what's on the front and inside the papers today. The Donegal People's Press: public meetings about social problems arising as a result of the influx of Ukrainian refugees are effectively putting the wrong people on trial. That's according to Councillor Mary-Therese Gallagher, who believes the blame lies not with the people fleeing their war-torn homeland, but rather with those who are profiteering from the misfortune of others. She further believes that deeply flawed government policies play a major part, allowing greedy profiteers to move in and take advantage of the plight of refugees. There are social problems because of the increased numbers, and there are human problems because of how some of these Ukrainians people are being forced to live. And, you know, there is a conversation that's maybe not necessarily happening in the media, but certainly happening out in the community, as we talked about last week. And we've recognised that on this programme right from the get-go. Some people talking about instances of antisocial behaviour, road traffic rules maybe not being applied equally, and social housing becoming unavailable to people on housing waiting lists, and then being filled, and in some cases filled with Ukrainian refugees. And, I think those conversations are far better had out in front, and interesting to see Councillor Mary-Therese Gallagher, amongst others, raising that issue recently. 086 60 25,000. It is something we're going to be talking about this week. The Derry Journal: the principal of a special needs school has gone on trial at Derry Crown Court on a series of rape and sexual assault charges against a female. Michael Dobbins, 54, of Greenhill Road in Derry, faces a total of 10 charges, including 6 charges of rape on dates over a 2-year period. He's also charged with sexual assault on the same female and sexual activity with a female with a mental disorder who could not give consent, again on the same dates. On to the Irish Independent now in the national newspapers, focusing very much on the budget, which, as I say, we kind of pretty much know what's in it at this stage. Pensioners are in line for one-off payments of up to €1,100 before the end of the year under a series of last-minute social welfare spending measures agreed by the coalition. Now, I'm sure there's many people out there, and we've heard from them in this programme, who after paying bills on given weeks have, €12, €13 in some cases, none to live on for the rest of the week. So I can only presume that this has to be welcomed for at least a certain group of people. A double payment of the €253 per week state pension will be paid twice in the coming months, once soon after the budget and again in December. Pensioners in receipt of the Living Alone allowance will get a separate €200 payment, and those receiving the fuel allowance are in line for an added once-off €400 lump sum. So that's 1,100 plus 200 plus 4. Social Protection Minister Heather Humphreys also struck a deal which will extend the fuel allowance up to another 80,000 people. So there are many people who, should qualify for the fuel allowance. It's a matter of pennies and pence almost, cents and euros. Hopefully now this net will be widened to bring those people in. Ms Humphreys also secured a €12 a week increase in social welfare in the new year, along with a special once-off €500 payment for carers and peoples with disability this year. Now, carers and peoples with disabilities, they are very, very broad parameters, okay? So the devil will be in the detail, and I have no doubt after this budget we may well be contacted by carers and people with disabilities, whether it's the minority or the majority, that will miss out on this for one reason or another, but hopefully it catches as many people as possible. Health Minister Stephen Donnelly received funding for a major expansion of the GP visit card scheme, with 430,000 people becoming eligible for the first time. And of course, that's useful if you can actually get an appointment with your GP. Elsewhere, third level fees are to be cut by 1,000 this year, which is really quite significant, I suppose. There'll be a significant reduction on a permanent basis. So there are some of the highlights picked out by that paper. I'll run through some more of the figures for you after we run through the papers. Let's focus on the business side of things. That's what the Irish Times have done. Businesses with soaring energy bills will be given up to €10,000 a month, while welfare rates will increase by €12 under an overall budgetary package worth $10 billion being unveiled by the coalition today. Now, there's two very different things going on, with two things happening right beside each other. Let's say, for instance, in Britain, and I think this might have been discussed on the programme yesterday, they have announced a giveaway mini budget, effectively, mostly for the rich, it has to be said. Their argument being that it stimulates investment and growth, and there's more tax take then, and jobs are protected. But anyway, the problem is that, and this is why the sterling is tanked, there's no real plan as how to pay for it. They're going to borrow. And because the sterling is so poor, the cost of British borrowing has gone through the roof. And it is an absolute mess over there. And it's something that will eventually have some sort of an impact on us. The difference here is the government has corporate tax. And it has a big lump sum this year and an even bigger lump sum next year. So it's able to make these types of decisions without necessarily having to go to the borrowing markets. Okay, and that's the difference. That in Ireland, there is this surplus from corporate tax. And you take that out, we'd be running at a deficit. You know, we are incredibly reliant on corporate tax, corporation tax, sorry. Whereas in Britain and Northern Ireland, of course, their situation is very different. They've announced stuff they haven't even costed and have to go and borrow for. And the very announcement that they're making is making borrowing more expensive. It's going to be incredibly interesting, if not worrying, certainly for lots of us who've got friends and family in Britain. Many of you listening today online may well be in Britain. You know, it's going to have an impact on real people. And it is, riches for the rich and pennies for the poor. And that's what we're seeing in Ireland a little bit, some might feel, with this budget. But perhaps there's enough in it to offset that sense. Well, the final details of Budget 2023 were agreed last night and will be announced by Minister for Finance Paschal Donohoe and Minister for Public Expenditure Michael McGrath in the Dáil at lunchtime. Following weeks of negotiations and amid significant pressure on the government to stage a major intervention, ministers have agreed to increase the entry point for the top level of tax to €40,000, a 25% reduction in childcare fees, a €1,000 cut on third level students' fees, and a €1.2 billion package of supports for businesses hit by soaring energy costs. Okay. Let's go on to politics elsewhere, over to Europe. Italy last night. Italy was last night set to have its first female prime minister after the far right claimed a victory in the country's elections, a result that was praised by Russia. This is the Irish Daily Mail. The problem far right parties, as they're described, have when they go into power is they have a lot to. They've got a lot of people that would vote, that would be this is not a generalisation, but a lot of people might be drawn to vote for them who feel that the government doesn't speak to them, that the government doesn't represent them, that they're forgotten, that their concerns about things like immigration, the concerns about, European powers are not listened to by, the regular government. So they vote far right. They vote for parties that promise, real change. Now, the difficulty, and it's happened in some of the Scandinavian countries already, the difficulty is that these parties have to deliver, because they have at least some of their support base that feel disaffected by politics in general. So they look to this new party and they say, or this new government, and they say, right, well, you better deliver on this, that, and the other. And what happens is that in reality, that doesn't happen. So we'll watch with a great deal of interest in Italy to see exactly what does happen, because while Russia has welcomed this decision, they've already committed to stick to the previous government's line on Ukraine and Russia. Well, anyway, The Conservative coalition of Brothers of Italy leader Giorgia Meloni, which includes former PM Silvio Berlusconi, picked up just over 44% of the vote. But the process of asking her to form Italy's most right-wing government since Mussolini's in the Second World War is not expected to be completed for at least another month. The 45-year-old's win in Sunday's poll marks the latest success for Europe's populist anti-immigration parties. The blunt-speaking single mother from Rome appealed to voters with tough rhetoric on Islam, woke ideology, the LGBT lobby. She also promised to use the Italian Navy to stop migrants getting into the country. Now, as I say, how much of that will she actually be able to deliver on? It could be a one-term government. We shall see, because, as I say, the expectations, particularly for those who think, it's a waste of time voting for the same old, the expectations for those will be very, very high, so we'll watch with interest. Just a wee update in the Irish Daily Star on calls last week for VAT to be scrapped on newspapers. Well, it seems the government is going to meet those demands. Government is set to scrap VAT on newspapers in this afternoon's budget, government sources told the Star. Last week, the Taoiseach said he was positively disposed towards getting rid of the tax that is crippling so many media outlets, especially local papers, every week. He said the issue was on the table for discussion ahead of the budget, and it now looks like his position has swayed other ministers, with the backing of the Taoiseach now confirmed the industry can be optimistic that the tax should be axed today. The yield to the government from the 9% VAT charged on papers, 18 million, is relatively small beer to the Exchequer in the grand scheme of things. Now, I'm not sure if that means papers become cheaper or they just become more sustainable. But good news, I presume, particularly though for local newspapers. Right, okay. The Mirror tells us today that drinking, smoking and tanning contribute to hundreds of preventable cases of cancer every day. The World Cancer Research Fund has estimated around 40% of cancers could be prevented through choices such as eating a healthy diet, being active, maintaining a healthy weight and not smoking. Other ways of lowering cancer risks are avoiding alcohol and processed meat and cutting down on red meat. Breastfeeding and staying sun safe are good tips too, the charity added. Dr. Vanessa Gordon Diego of WCRF said early detection via screening is also a vital tool in improving survival rates. Okay, a lot of that's kind of stuff we know, and you try and implement it, but it can be tough too, can't it? Because a lot of ways to eat healthy are incredibly expensive, but I suppose exercise is free. An interesting story overnight for those of you who look up. NASA launched a mission to deliberately collide a space probe with an asteroid, and it will provide the first proof that technology can save us from disaster. The Dublin Asteroid Redirection Test mission was due to dramatically smash into the giant space rock 17.7 million kilometres from Earth at around 7:14 last night. Well, it happened after midnight. I'll tell you how it went. The DART spacecraft launched last November to target the asteroid Dimorphos in the Didymos system. The craft will impact Dimorphos, and researchers will measure if the impact shortened its orbit period. Well, it did impact with it, and it was very close to where they wanted to hit it. It's about the size of a football stadium. So if you were down at Crook Park recently, imagine this asteroid is that size, and it's hurtling through space, not towards Earth, and its position cannot be adjusted where it would end up going towards Earth. But they smashed this object into it. It was a success in that regard. This satellite, they smashed it into it, and now over the course of the weeks, and it only has to move a fraction really, because it's so far away, because that fraction by the time it would get to us would be massive, right? So they're going to track it over the next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks and so on to see if this high impact caused it to alter course, its trajectory. Which is kind of, like those 90s films. I can't remember the names off the top of my head, but it's the same kind of stuff, isn't it? Right, shall we have a quick look then at what, before we move on to our guests, what's expected to be in this budget? So in relation to business, we'll start with businesses. SMEs are to get energy bill payments up to a maximum of €10,000 a month. So I presume the bigger payers of electricity will get the higher rates. The scheme will cover 40% of the increase in electricity or gas bills. Revenue will administer and it'll be backdated to September, and it'll run until at least February at a cost of $1 billion. So hopefully now There's not too many hoops that businesses have to jump through in terms of compliance and stuff to pick up that money, but it should offset 40% of the increases in electricity or gas bills to business. Another 200 million scheme will be aimed at larger companies involved in imports, exports and manufacturing, with up to 2 million in financial aid if the business shows how they'll get through the crisis and control energy costs. PhD students will also get a once-off cost of living payment before Christmas. The 9% VAT rate on hospitality will be allowed to expire in February and will return to 13.5%, which is a big shame for businesses up this part of the world that have continued to offer relatively good value. Not so upset for the gougers in the big cities, but anyway. In terms of your income tax, the top rate of income tax will only apply to earnings over 40k after the budget. That's an increase in the tax band of 3,200. It'll be worth 800 a year to those on the higher rate. The Help to Buy schemes to be extended for 2 years. There'll be a once-off €500 payment for carers and people with disabilities in the budget. As I said, when looking at the papers, though, it'll be interesting to see how targeted that is if people miss out. And Minister Heather Humphreys has also got a double child benefit payment to be paid in the coming months, and I welcome things like that. But I don't see why people really, really well off get a double child welfare payment. I know we're not supposed to discriminate amongst children and all, but wouldn't it be far better off to give those who are really struggling a greater proportion of that money, rather than giving people that it just goes into the abyss of wealth, giving them that money? It just doesn't seem right to me. Some pensioners will get $1,100 from the government before Christmas. Some of you will get more details on that a little later on. There's a 12-year rise in the state pension, a €400 lump sum for those on the fuel allowance, it makes a difference, that, doesn't it? And then a €200 lump sum for those on the living alone allowance, and 2 double payments for all on social welfare at Christmas and around about Halloween. The free contraception scheme will be extended up to and including 30-year-olds, so I think it was 26, wasn't it? Hospital inpatient charges are to be scrapped, and the first publicly funded IVF treatment will be provided in 2023 under the budget package from Stephen Donnelly. The Department of Health is also planning to make 430,000 more of you out there eligible for free GP care next year. It'll mean more than half the population will have either a GP visit card or a full medical card for the first time. Renters are to benefit from the €500 tax credit both this year and next. In terms of the defence budget, budget is rising to €1.17 billion. €47 million for paying pensions in the defence forces. $176 million on capital spending. That's the highest ever budget. And it'll be used on state-of-the-art radar, new planes and vessels. On to students here. Students, €1,000 reduction in college fees this year. Now, I don't know exactly how that works. If a lot of students not already paid their charges, or is that done quarterly or something? Someone out there will let me know. There'll be a permanent reduction of €500 in fees for any family earning under 100k, which is useful. That's a lot of people there. It's combined incomes, but I think a lot of people in Donegal will qualify for that. Families earning under 62,000 will pay no more than €1,500 in student fees. That's not insignificant, that. So you can tally up what you and your partner earns, or if you're a single parent. So if you're under 62,000, you'll pay no more than €1,500 in student fees, and all student grant receipts will get a double payment this year. Okay, so that's what's potentially in it. They better be right, I'll tell you, those who claim to be in the know, because I don't want to be misleading anyone either. All right, okay, much more to come on the show. Stay where you are.
The newspapers are courtesy of Kelly Centra, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
The 9 till Noon Show with St Eunan's GA Club Development Draw. €40,000 in prizes. First prize, a Hyundai Kona car, plus 9 other great prizes. Tickets now available online at stunansgadraw.com or any club member.
Tourism businesses have a brand new mark of employer excellence, driven by the employee's voice. The Employer Excellence Programme recognises employers who consistently create better workplaces for their employees. Attract and retain top talent. Shine the spotlight on your business. The Employer Excellence Programme. Learn more at fulltoireland.ie.
Patterson's The Hall Lifford, one of Ireland's largest kitchen and interior showrooms. Open Monday to Saturday, 9am to 5:30pm. Kitchens, beds, mattresses and furniture all under one roof. 50% off our ex-display kitchens. Everything you need to make a house a home. At Patterson's Kitchens and Interiors, The Hall Lifford.
Our McCullough Jewellers in Letterkenny are synonymous with fine jewellery, quality watches and giftware. With stores at Main Street, Letterkenny and the Letterkenny Shopping Centre or online at ourmccullough.com. You can choose from their quality product range in a relaxed atmosphere, and their sales staff will be happy to help you make the right choice whatever the occasion. Our McCullough Jewellers, making moments magical for generations.
We know every business is different, from coffee stalls to car dealerships and footwear. But behind every door, hatch and counter, they all have one thing in common: payments. At AIB Merchant Services, we provide payment solutions that work as hard as you do, building systems to fit your business needs, whether that's in-store, online or on the go. Search AIBMS.com for more. AIB Merchant Services, your partner in payments. First Merchant Processing Ireland DAC Trading as AIB Merchant Services is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
When it comes to searching for a holiday, Atlantic Travel and Letterkenny deal with all the major tour operators from Dublin and Belfast to find you the best deals available. A week in the sun, a cruise or maybe a short break. Whatever suits, you can book in confidence with Atlantic, knowing your holiday is protected should something go wrong. Take the hassle and worry out of your holiday booking with the award-winning Atlantic Travel, St Oliver Plunkett Road, Letterkenny. For a quote today, see Facebook, visit atlantictravel.ie or call 9126193.
Going angling? Better think safety. Better keep an eye on the weather. Better wear a life jacket and secure it correctly. Better carry a fully charged mobile in a waterproof bag. This is Water Safety Ireland. Better safe than sorry. For advice, visit watersafety.ie. Supported by the Government of Ireland.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
Now, Community Guard information is coming up for you around about 10:15 this week, today. Last week, there was an appeal as it relates to, I think it was last week, as it relates to an appeal on a holiday home. There was people went inside and messed up this holiday home. Now, the appeal was detailed, do not get me wrong, but it did not tell the full story because it couldn't, because only the pictures can tell the full story. We're going to speak to that property owner now, but if you want to see what people or a person did the inside of this house, go on to our website, highlandradio.com, click Watch Live, or go on to Highland Radio Ireland on YouTube or any of our Facebook pages, and I'll be showing you some of the images of what these people or person did to this house. Sam is the property owner. Sam, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Right, okay. Now, you've had this holiday home. Is it actually this home that you've had in Moville for a couple of decades now?
Yeah, we've had it almost 20 years. It comprises of three apartments, a ground floor apartment and a first and second floor apartment. We never actually used the ground floor apartment, but we used the first and second floor top room for ourselves, and the first floor if we had friends or family come to visit us.
And what kind of state was the ground floor in? It was the ground floor that was the focus of this vandalism. Is that correct?
No, the ground floor was actually vacant. The only damage done there was they broke a window in the door into the kitchen, but there was no actual damage done inside because there was no furniture or anything in that ground floor apartment. All the damage was done in the first and second floor apartments,
okay,
and the entrance hall in the staircase and everything into the apartments.
Right. So, during what period of time did this happen? In other words, the last time you were there, and compared to when you returned.
Well, the property was pretty much vacant prior to lockdown. Obviously, we weren't allowed to travel, etc. But we did keep a regular check on it, and we were actually in the property on the 29th of August, and that's the day that we found the damage. Prior to that was 2 weeks before the 29th of August, and the apartments were intact. So, as I say, on the Monday the 29th of August, we just did a routine check to make sure everything was okay, and just couldn't believe our eyes when we opened the door.
Yeah, right. So it was 2 weeks. The latter 2 weeks of August, this damage was done. Now, this and anyone who hopped on to watch the show will see this. This looks like a demolition job. I mean, I don't know how long it might take, or how many people it might take, but this looks like you hired a team to go in and demolish the internals of it, but not remove what they demolished, sort of a thing. So can you describe for listeners in Radioland what these people did to your property?
Well, they basically broke in and with an axe, and they went up the staircase like I have never seen anything like it before. The local guards and the forensic team they said themselves that they had never seen damage like it. It just was the vandalism. There was nothing taken, and it was just they went up the staircase, as you can see in the photographs. The newel posts. They basically tried to take the staircase out, but not for any monetary gain. It was just vandalism. They then went at the walls, the light switches, the sanitary ware, the kitchens, doors, and at one point, I'd say in the first floor apartment, they actually hacked off the bathroom door, but left the hinges on and about probably 6 inches of the door on, and brought that door upstairs, put it into what would have been my daughter's bedroom, and just smashed the place to complete smithereens, the TV. Just unbelievable. The photographs don't actually give enough detail, but the photographs are appalling, as I'm sure you agree.
They're unbelievable. It's not like copper was stripped from the walls. It's not like the wood was taken to be burned. It's not like this was like a pack of animals that went in there for however long, I don't know. And as much as they could possibly destroy, they destroyed.
That's correct.
What's the damage? I mean, well, we'll talk about the actual, monetary cost of this. But what are we looking at here?
Well, we're still assessing it, and the staircase was that badly damaged that, I've had a couple of joiners look at it, and the feeling is that we probably will have to replace the whole staircase because it's been damaged beyond repair. The number of walls that are going to have to be replastered, kitchen replaced, sanitary ware. At this stage, we're looking at probably between 30 and 40,000 euro of damage.
Yeah. What about the emotional impact this has had on you, Sam? Because there was a notable pause, for me anyway, when you mentioned, them accessing your daughter's room. Did I pick up correctly in that? And how has this made you feel personally, the emotional element of it?
Well, we have always had, a great respect for Maville, and it's just sort of shattered us to the extent that my wife and my daughter really don't want to return.
What do you think has happened here? I mean, do you feel this is anything personal? Do you think that people just went in there? Like, was there any evidence of drinking or smoking in there? Like, what do you think? There can be never any justifiable motivation for anything like this. I think that's clear. What do you think went on here?
I think that the property was empty, and the perpetrators gained access, and it's clear from the top apartment that they rearranged the furniture, and they had there was evidence of drinking alcohol. There was pizza boxes with half-eaten pizzas in them. There was evidence of smoking and cigarettes, and nobody in our family smokes, so there was definitely that. had readjusted the furniture to an extent where they were using it, whether it be as a den or a drinking or gathering place. I don't know. The guards did do a door-to-door inquiry, and there was youth seen leaving the building, I think a few days prior to us coming down, but they were wearing hoodies, and they said that possibly there was one female as well. But they had used we had the water turned off, thankfully, in the premises, but they had used the toilet. And as I say, we believe there definitely was more than one person in there.
Do you get the impression that this all happened in one day, or they may have been returning over the course of that fortnight?
I would say that they've been in and out of there definitely on a number of occasions, without a doubt.
And the axe, and I'm gonna, for those watching, I'm gonna pause the image on the axe. To me, it seems really quite distinctive. It's got a green and yellow handle, almost like the Donegal GEA colours. That obviously was used. Was that on the premises, or did they bring that with them?
No, that was not on the premises, and that was sitting, as you can see, it's sitting on the coffee table, and there was also a crowbar on the floor, which you can sort of see in one of the photographs as well. That was obviously what was used to do the damage and to gain access. But I agree with you that axe is very distinctive, and I'm sure that there's somebody somewhere that will look at that and say that axe.
There's an axe missing. Yeah, exactly. There's an axe missing from the back of someone's van or a shed or a utility room or something. Someone's gone looking for a yellow and green handled axe and is wondering where it's at. And this is where it gets quite important, because this means that maybe there's someone out there. It might be quite difficult. It's not actually a yellow and green handle. The handle's green, but the axe's body is yellow. Just so we're clear, the rubberized section is green. The body of the axe is yellow. There could be someone that knows it's someone in their family is really what I'm getting at, or at least they supplied this equipment, and that would leave someone in a very difficult position. But I think people are going to have to step up and do the right thing here. This is really, really quite significant, and as you say. An attack like this is going to feel personal, Sam. It's going to feel personal to you too as well. There's just and your family, because you've already talked of the impact it's had on your family, but it's going to feel personal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Has there been any other information other than youths spotted exiting and entering the building? No,
the guards, in fairness now, have been very helpful, and they've had forensic out, and they are hopeful that there will be DNA of the bits and pieces that they took, the axe, the crowbar, cigarettes. There was a glass there, empty drinking cans and things like that there. So they have been in touch with me, and they're working on it, and they have done door-to-door inquiries, and I've spoken to some of the local people that live nearby, and the owner of the pub across the road, and they haven't seen anything, but I'm confident that if they do, that they'll be very happy to help.
What do you do next now, Sam, in terms of trying to get this back to the way it was before, or I don't know, what are you going to do? I mean, obviously it has to go in and be assessed and costed and all that type of stuff. Are you ready for that?
Well, we have, as I say, we've had the insurance loss adjusters out, and they advised me to employ, because of the extent of the damage, they've advised me to employ my own loss adjuster to do a detailed report as to the damage, and we're still working our way through that. It's as I say, the staircase is a bit of a worry, because it's been so badly damaged that it may be that we have to take the whole staircase out of the property and replace it, which that one item would be in excess of €10,000, I believe.
All right. And listen, it's great that they're doing their forensic work, the DNA, all that type of stuff. But look at if this is young people, how you get a match. What effectively I'm saying is this is going to require maybe having real life suspects as well, that things can be cross referenced with. We don't. It's not like the telly where we have this database and they run it through and all of a sudden 2 suspects pop up. So this is going to require the local community to pass on any information they may have to the guards. Can you give us a more specific idea of where this is? It's in Moville. It's an old barracks, which, as you say, has been converted to 3 apartments. You mentioned there's a pub across the road. Is there adjoining property? Can you describe to us its location?
Yeah, well, it's pretty central, and the Trollroom and pub is opposite. And there used to be a restaurant on one side of it, which was destroyed by fire. I'm sure maybe 10 or 15 years ago, and it's pretty close to there's a children's park there and the water sports area. So you're right in the centre at James Street, just at the traffic lights. If you were coming into Moville from Greencastle and you hit the traffic lights, you take a left, and you're on James Street, and you're on the left there.
And given the level of damage and destruction here, you would imagine someone was walking past and heard something as well. I don't know, maybe it's very incredibly well insulated. I don't know, Sam. But there would have been a riot going on in this building. You would imagine anyone close to it is bound to have heard or seen something.
Well, the perpetrators didn't do any damage to the ground floor apartment,
right,
which would have been, they purposely would have avoided that, because yes, you're absolutely correct that anybody walking past would have heard that. The damage would have been confined to the first and second floor, and the access was from the rear. Now there is quite a substantial back area to the garden and the sort of a back lane, so there wouldn't be an awful lot of pedestrians on the back lane. So. But I agree with you that the noise must have been horrendous, because, as I say, I don't think anybody could. You couldn't do the damage without. It's a complete workout.
Yeah. Even the noise of smashing a toilet, it's under pressure, so to speak. Do you know what I mean? That would have made a racket. The length of time it would have taken to destroy the stairs as they did. Other damage, smashing of walls, random stuff like pulling out the kitchen. It serves absolutely no purpose. There must have been like a pack of animals, but the throwing TVs, yet the oven seems relatively untouched. I don't know. None of it makes sense, of course, but this is something that took an awful lot of energy. Depending on how many people were at it, it took a bit of time as well.
Yeah, well, the fact that there was only one axe would sort of lead you to believe that it was that was the singular instrument that was used, and quite possibly maybe there was one person doing it and other people looking on. It's maybe an act of bravado. I don't know. It's hard to get your head around. If somebody breaks into some place to steal something, although that's wrong, you can sort of say, well, they broke in and they stole something, or they broke in and they were using it as somewhere to sleep or to drink. But this, I just struggle to. I've had nightmares about it. That I just struggle to get my head around the fact that anybody would actually want to go in and leave a place in such a state that they know that somebody is going to come in and find this and leave us in the position that we are, just struggling to get our head around it.
Yeah, you are offering a substantial reward for any information that leads to a prosecution. Tell us about that as much as you want to on air, Sam.
Well, as I say, we do feel so strongly about it that, and I've had a chat with the guards about it, and we know that the people of Moville are good people, and somebody knows somebody, that has been involved in this. And all I would ask is do the right thing and come forward anonymously or whatever way that you want to, either through yourself or through the guards, and there's a substantial cash reward at the end of it.
Like, I mean, none of us would ever want to think it's our young people, but I think if it were mine, I think they would need to speak to the guards, and it might straighten them out a little bit, if that makes sense. As hurtful and as tough as that might be, and it could be any of our children at any time, by the way, because I don't know what was going through the minds, but clearly they got caught up in a situation or whatever was happening. But I think also too that the axe is really quite distinctive, and I think maybe people could focus on that a little bit as well as everything else, because it was left behind. It's sort of like a medium-sized axe. It's bigger than a hatchet, I think. Is it axe size or sort of a mid-size implement, or is the hatchet?
It would be the handle on it would probably be about 14 inches long. Okay. I would guess it's the sort of thing, as you say, somebody would maybe have in their shed for chopping sticks or something like that there. But it's quite substantial. It's not a toy, and it's I'm sure that somebody will look at that photograph and go out to their shed and say that's my axe.
So it's got a yellow body, it's got a green handle, and as I say, it jumps straight out at you as sort of like the Donegal colours, and obviously just its regular metal head. As I say, Sam, these things are. It feels like an absolute violation. How do you rehabilitate? How do you rehabilitate you and your family's sort of relationship with this property again? Well,
as I say, we're just trying to come to terms with it, and it's at this point in time, the girls are of a mind that they really don't want to go back in there. But time's a good healer. We'll see.
Okay. Well, listen. I hope in some way this is helpful. That someone who knows something gets in contact with the Gardaí, or not even if there's a mistrust of the Gardaí for whatever reason, local parish priest or also whatever it might be. But I think anyone should really want the people responsible for this to sort of have to face up to it. I think it would be good for them, because if you're capable of this kind of prolonged, sustained abuse of a property, what do you do next week or the week after or in a month? Do you know what I mean? Because and maybe it's just a group of people and excitement and drink and impressing members of the opposite sex or whatever it might be, or the same sex. Things ran away with themselves. But I think they need to face up to this, I think, and the community would be very forgiving. I think if those responsible stepped up and faced this, I think it would set them up for the rest of their lives effectively. I don't want to overstate it either, Sam, but I think it's that type of an instant, and sometimes you just have to do the right thing.
Absolutely. And, can I take the opportunity to thank you for airing it? Thank you.
No, it's anything we can do, Sam. All right, best wishes to you and your family.
Thanks a lot.
All right, take care of yourself. All right, that is Sam there. He's the owner of the holiday home in Mulville. He's been there going back and forth for 20 years. It's the old barracks there. You heard him describe its location, converted into 3 apartments. The first floor and the top floor were the targets of that rampage, is the only thing you could describe it as. The bottom apartment or bottom section of the building was empty, basically untouched. But it definitely happened in the last 2 weeks of August, because they were there mid-August. They returned on the 29th of August and discovered this damage. So it's a 2-week window. €40,000 worth of damage, and a substantial reward for any information that will lead to a prosecution is being offered. And again, though, I just think sometimes it happens. People step up and go, look, that was me. And I think they would benefit greatly from that, because there's a lot of evidence there. There's a lot of DNA evidence on cigarettes and on axes, and people might not be on a database at the moment if such a thing exists, but down the line this stuff can be cross-references. So, maybe people need to get out in front of it.
Would you like to win a Hyundai Kona car? Well, that's the first prize in the St. Eunan's GA Club Development Draw, who are sponsors of this week's 9 till Noon show. There's 9 other great prizes, and tickets are now available online at stunionsgadraw.com or any club member.
Text or WhatsApp your view to Greg on 086 60 25,000.
If you need advice on what's best for coughs or colds, or what's best for sore throats or flu, just ask at your local Brennan's Pharmacy. If you need advice on the best vitamins and tonics to put a pep in your step, just ask at your local Brennan's Pharmacy. Whether it's about backaches, headaches or tummy aches, your Brennan's Pharmacy team can help. If you need advice from someone you trust, we're here for you at your local Brennan's Pharmacy, Mccarron, Clonmany and Creeslow.
Do you suffer from high cholesterol, menopause symptoms, digestive issues, anxiety, aches and pains, or a lack of energy? The highly trained team at the Natural Way Letterkenny can provide advice on natural remedies for a number of individual health issues. The Natural Way also has its own brand of herbal treatments to help fight fatigue, relieve digestive discomfort, maintain a healthy immune system and alleviate common menopause symptoms. The Natural Way at Letterkenny Shopping Centre, your one-stop health shop.
Hello, I'm Liz O'Donnell, Chairperson of the Road Safety Authority. After 2 years away, the Road Safety Authority's Leading Lights in Road Safety Awards return this year. In every community in Ireland, there are unsung heroes working to make our roads safer. These awards are our chance to recognise the extraordinary contribution these people have made. If there's someone you'd like to nominate, visit rsa.ie. The closing date is the 28th of October.
Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why. The Euro Millions jackpot is a guaranteed €17 million. Play responsibly in-store, in-app or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
It's back. The Furniture Show NI is now on at CFC Interiors Campsie Derry. Save with massive discounts from leading brands in furniture and interiors, from sofas, beds, flooring and design. CFC have it all reduced in their biggest sale. Don't miss the Furniture Show NI, now on at CFC Interiors Campsie Derry.
Okay, so obviously we know that there's a few things going on here. We know when we were talking about ATU, that there's a bed shortage in and around Letterkenny. So one of the options is that people, take properties outside Letterkenny and get bussed in. We also know that the majority of people in Donegal who live in Donegal but choose to go to third level go to the ATU for obvious reasons. But getting there can be a problem. And we've been contacted by a number of people on various different issues relating to this. Bridgine joins us now. Bridgine, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
Thanks for speaking to me. Now, are you a student or speaking on behalf of a student?
Yeah, I'm a student.
Okay.
I'm in third
Right.
year.
Now, you live in Inishowen and travel into ATU daily, is that correct?
I do, yeah.
Right, okay. So tell us what your experience was.
So there is a few different things, but yesterday really was a big highlight. So 2 buses left from Inishowen to ATU yesterday morning, and they are also for the general public as well. And at the evening bus, 20 to 6 is the last bus home to Inishowen, and over 25 students were left told that they could not get on the bus because the bus was full. And I was lucky enough to get on the bus because I didn't wait for the bus outside college yesterday because I kind of had an idea that this was going to happen, because last week the first years weren't even in college and the buses were packed. And I walked up to the bus stop at Mr. Chippy to get on, but there was only 3 seats left from there.
Right, so the bus, part of its route, then it goes to that bus stop at Mr. Chippy, and then it'll come back down in front ATU.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I'll pick up the remainder of students or whoever's getting on at that bus stop. So there was only 3 seats left, and the bus driver told the students outside that there was only 3 people that could get on. And that is the last way home to Inishowen any evening. So they were kind of left, and the busman obviously rang whoever's in charge of the bus company and told them that another bus could be on their way to them. Now, they weren't really told anything other than that. I was talking to a student who was left yesterday. I recognised him and I asked him this morning, how did he get home in the end up? And he said that they all had to stand out and the bus came over an hour later and there was no apology or nothing like that. So they were standing in the wind and the rain for an hour, not knowing, was there a bus coming? Was there not a bus coming? What time was the bus coming? And yeah, the bus service is just not fit for purpose. We're a university now, and we must be the only university in the whole country that does not have adequate services.
Is
for
it
students.
possible that the bus company is waiting to see what the demand is before they lay on another bus? Get into the year a little bit and see if there's days that are particularly busy. I'm trying to be fair here. Is that possible?
Yeah. Well, yeah, you could say that, but I'm sure from last week they already knew that the bus service was full, and they took 2 full coaches to Letterkenny yesterday morning for 9:15 in the morning, so and they were both packed. So how did they not expect that 2 full busloads would be also coming home that night?
Yeah, because there's going to be
It's
certain
not
days.
that they didn't.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead. There's going to be certain days as
It's
well,
not-
too, where it's non-student traffic as well, isn't there? So you need the capacity to account for that, I presume, because it's not just students
Yeah.
might be left behind. It could be any
Yeah,
members of
the
the public who
general
will be left
public.
behind. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was speaking to a man yesterday, and he gets the bus up some days to his own work, and he works in Letterkenny, and they can't even be in work before 9 a.m. The bus service doesn't leave people from the Inishowen line that runs from Malin through Kilmarnock to Buncrana through Burnfoot. I'm not sure about the other side of Inishowen, but the side of Inishowen, they can't even get to work before 9 a.m. So they're taking the general public. There's a lot of people that go to Letterkenny to shop, do different things, and then you have all these university students who are relying on this one bus service because that's the only bus service that we have. So no, they knew and they know already that the Letterkenny run is already quite busy with the general public before we start back in college, and they knew yesterday morning for the first bus run that there was well over 100 people going from Inishowen to Letterkenny, and how were they actually supposed to get home last night?
Now, is this a Monday thing, or do we have to wait and see what the story is today as well? Do you travel up and down daily?
Yeah, so college is obviously open Monday to Friday, so this is going to be a Monday to Friday issue. Now, it's not a new thing. It was the exact same last year, and it was probably even worse when we had to deal with not being allowed to sit beside people because the seats were cordoned off because of COVID. And yeah, it's an ongoing thing. It's not new. It's been going on for years.
Right, Bridget, we're going to follow this up. Unfortunately, I'm up against the clock here. We've contacted the bus company. We're going to try and get a statement from them to put your questions to them. So we'll be back in touch with you to let you know how that goes. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to carry over our other guest on this issue, Siobhan, unfortunately, because we're right up against the news at 10. We will return to this, and Siobhan, if you hang up your phone, we'll be in contact with you. With this and much more besides coming up in the next couple of hours.
The 9 till noon show with St Eunan's GA Club Development Draw. €40,000 in prizes. First prize, a Hyundai Kona car, plus 9 other great prizes. Tickets now available online at steunans.gadraw.com or any club member.
Keep out the cold, cold, cold this winter and ring Fleming for their full range of garage doors, agri doors, insulated doors, milking parlour doors. Fleming, 91 48 234.
Sheridan Security now introducing zero-wire smart alarm systems. Zero wire, zero mess, and a real peace of mind. With a simple press of a button, your alarm can be set or unset, or download the free app and control it from your phone. Call us today on 074 912 6025 and get your alarm from €299. Stay local, stay safe, and protect what you value most with Sheridan Security Systems.
Don't know if you know Alice and Pat. Late 40s, couple of kids, been together 17 years. Never married, of course, but that's not a problem. Until something happens, and suddenly words like unmarried, inheritance, and substantial tax bill enter the equation. You never need proper estate planning. Until you do. That's why the experienced team at McElhenney & Associates are here to help. Find us online or call 074 917 5989. McElhenney & Associates Solicitors, Stranola.
Thinking of changing your floors? Why not see what Fluorid Letterkenny has to offer? Fluorid have a large selection of solid, semi-solid and laminate click vinyl wood flooring, together with a fantastic choice of parquet, herringbone flooring, all at incredible value. Don't delay. Call Fluorid today on 087 161 7008.
Thinking of changing your car for a new car? Get ahead of the queue. It's time to order your new 231 Nissan today. With an award-winning range of vehicles, your next car will be a Nissan. We are sure of it. Visit us in Letterkenny or Malin or online at imotors.ie.
Your business is changing every day, constantly reimagining itself, either in one big step or lots of little ones. Whatever you imagine is coming next for your business, having the right technology partner by your side is more important than ever. With solutions across security, cloud and reliable connectivity, as well as expert advice and support, Vodafone can help your business navigate today and thrive tomorrow. Search Vodafone Business and talk to us today. Together, we can.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donal Kavanagh at the news desk. The owner of a holiday property in Moville, which was badly damaged after what appears to have been a series of break-ins in recent weeks, has appealed for information about what happened. Sam is offering a reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of those behind the break-ins at the old barracks on James Street, which had been converted into holiday apartments used by him and his family. He estimates the level of damage could be in the region of up to €40,000. Sam told Greg on today's 9 to noon show he's in no doubt that this involved multiple people entering the property on multiple occasions.
We believe there definitely was more than one person. They've been in and out of there, definitely, on a number of occasions, without a doubt. The guards, in fairness now, have been very helpful, and they've had forensic out, and they are hopeful that there will be DNA, the axe, the crowbar, cigarettes, there was a glass there, empty drinking cans and things like that there. They have done door-to-door inquiries, and I've spoken to some of the local people that live nearby.
Donegal County Council is to ask the government to prioritise the Letterkenny campus of Atlantic Technological University when it comes to the provision of on-campus accommodation. The council passed an emergency motion last evening. It was moved by Councillor Michael McBride at a plenary council meeting. He argued that preferential treatment is not just desirable, it's essential. Councillor McBride says the number of Ukrainian refugees in the county, coupled with the Mike rebuilding programme, will put existing accommodation options under severe strain. That, he says, must be acknowledged and acted on.
We have got an exceptional circumstance here in Donegal at the moment. The first thing is we have absorbed over 3,000 Ukrainian refugees in the last number of months, which is unprecedented in Donegal. And the second thing is we've still got all the families who have to deal with the problem of Micah. So if we want Letterkenny ATU to be able to operate at the level that we hope that it would, then we need to get on-campus accommodation.
The government is set to announce a bumper budget package worth more than €10 billion as it tries to battle the soaring cost of living. The plans will be largely aimed at young families, with students also set to significantly benefit. With more, here's political correspondent Sean Defoe.
Parents may get a number of benefits: a 25% reduction in childcare costs, leading to savings of between €1,200 and €2,100 per child, free primary school books, and income tax changes worth €800 a year to those earning over 40 grand. Students will see €1,000 slashed from third level fees and a double payment of the student grant, along with the reduction in public transport fares of 20% being kept, while renters will get a €500 tax credit both this year and next. Core social welfare rates will be raised by €12, along with a €500 payment to carers and people with disabilities. Free contraception will be extended to people aged 30 and under. Publicly funded IVF will start next year, and 1,000 extra Gardaí will be recruited in 2023. Businesses will be given money to deal with energy price hikes up to €10,000 a month, with households to get 3 energy credits worth a total of €600.
Any moves to make Ireland a cashless society will discriminate against older citizens. That's according to Councillor Micheál Naughton, who's calling on Finance Minister Paschal Donohoe to ensure that cash remains a key part of our day-to-day lives. Donegal County Council last evening moved a motion tabled by Councillor Naughton supporting the retention of cash, he says not everyone has access to the right technology to stay up to date with a fast-moving world.
You know, it's discrimination basically against our older generation and people on low-income families, because they are dependent on cash and that. Not everybody has the iPhone. Not everybody has access to the internet.
Now, the prosecution of a former British soldier in connection with the events of Bloody Sunday will resume today in Derry. Soldier F faces 2 counts of murder and 5 counts of attempted murder. With more, here's Gareth McCullough.
Soldier F is being prosecuted for the murders of William McKinney and James Ray in Derry on January the 30th, 1972. He also faces 5 charges of attempted murder on the same date. Last year, the Public Prosecution Service decided to drop charges against the ex-soldier, but that was overruled at Belfast High Court in March. The PPS subsequently reviewed its position and then announced it decided to resume the prosecution. 13 people were shot dead and at least 15 others injured when members of the Army's Parachute Regiment opened fire on civil rights demonstrators in the Bogside. The prosecution is due to restart at Derry Magistrates Court later.
Weather forecast and Mccarron tell us it'll be mostly cloudy today with isolated showers. Some sunny spells developing perhaps later on in the afternoon. Cool and breezy with a moderate to fresh northwesterly wind. Top temperatures 11 to 13 degrees Celsius. Tonight we'll see some clear spells and scattered showers. Moderate to fresh northwesterly winds easing light by morning. Lowest temperatures hitting 5 to 9 degrees Celsius. Tomorrow Wednesday, sunny spells and scattered showers. Light to moderate northwesterly breezes with temperatures hitting 11 to 14 degrees Celsius. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news headlines again at 11 o'clock. Until then, from the news team, good morning.
Obituary notices for Tuesday morning, September 27th. The death has occurred of Ita Blake, 53, The Elms, Glencore, reposing at her late residence from 12 noon until 9 p.m. today and tomorrow, with rosary each night at 9 p.m. Funeral from there on Thursday, going to St Eunan's Cathedral for 11 a.m. Requiem Mass. The funeral mass can be viewed live on churchservices.tv. Interment afterwards in Conwall Cemetery. Family time please on the morning of the funeral. Family flyers only please. Donations if wished to the Donegal Hospice, care of Pascal Blake, funeral director. The death has taken place of Rose O'Donnell, 26 Convent Road, Carndonagh, Nee McGohan, Greenbank, Quigley's Point. Her remains are reposing at her home. Funeral leaving there tomorrow morning, going to the Church of the Sacred Heart, Carndonagh, for a Requiem Mass at 11 a.m, with interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family time please from 10 p.m. to 10 a.m. The death has taken place of Michael Bernard, Mickey B. McElhinney, late of 12, Millside Crescent, Park, County Derry, reposing at his sister's home, 21 Stony Wood, Victoria Road, Derry. Funeral from there tomorrow morning, leaving at 10 a.m. for 11 a.m. Requiem Mass in St Mary's Church, Altonure. Interment immediately afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. The death has occurred of Sarah Sally Talon, 18 Wheatfield Court, Muff, and formerly Leakslip, County Kildare. Sarah's remains will be reposing at her home today from 12 noon until 8 p.m. Removal from her home tomorrow morning to the Sacred Heart Church, Muff, for a Requiem Mass at 11 a.m, followed by private cremation in Lakelands, County Cavan. Sarah's Requiem Mass can be viewed on mcnmedia.tv. Family time please from 11 p.m. to 11 a.m. Family flyers only please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Irish Cancer Society, care of any family member or Murphy funeral directors. The death has taken place of Brady McGlinchey, Nee Bradley, Clonbeg, Buncrana. Remains are reposing at her late residence. Funeral leaving her late residence at 10:20 a.m. tomorrow morning, walking to St Mary's Church, Cockhill, for 11 a.m. Requiem Mass with burial in the adjoining cemetery. Funeral can be viewed live on churchservices.tv. Wake private from 11 p.m. to 10 a.m. The death has taken place of Johnny Kern, Sheshkin Beg, Guidor. His remains are reposing at Rorty's Funeral Home, Derry Beg, today from 4 p.m. to 6:45 p.m. Removal afterwards to St Mary's Church, Derry Beg for 7 p.m. to repose overnight. Funeral Mass in St Mary's Church, Derry Beg tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. with interment afterwards in Mccarron Cemetery. The death has taken place of Bridget Gallagher, Ards, Creasla, reposing at her late residence. Funeral Mass in St Michael's Church, Creasla tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. with burial afterwards in Doe Cemetery. Funeral Mass can be viewed live on mcnmedia.tv. Family time please from 11 p.m. tonight and before the funeral tomorrow. Family flyers only please. Donations if desired to Creasla Day Centre, care of any family member or James Harkin, Funeral Director. And the death has taken place of Isobel Hanlon, Nee McKinley, Cora Cragen, Dunfanaghy. Her remains are reposing at her late residence. House private at the request of the deceased. Funeral service in Holy Trinity Church, Hornhead Road, Dunfanaghy, this afternoon at 1 p.m. Burial afterwards in Clondalhorky Cemetery. Family flyers only please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Little Angel School, Letterkenny, care of any family member or James Harkin, Funeral Director. For more details, including any family health guidelines for wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Okay, a great deal of interest, and you're very welcome back to the programme, or good morning if you're just tuning in. A great deal of interest as it relates to buses in general, but buses for students particularly. I think, it's... firstly, not everyone can drive. Secondly, not everyone can afford to drive. And thirdly, we're being encouraged to use public transport as much as possible. And there's a couple of basic things that you require public transport for, isn't there? Getting to school, getting to college, getting to work. Maybe getting to the hospital, or getting out to the shops or whatever. But there seems to definitely be a gap from Inishowen into Letterkenny. And let's not forget either that an awful lot of services are focused on Letterkenny. That's part of the strategy, seemingly. So I think it's all the more important that, we have a bus service. It's not going to be perfect anytime, but that meets the needs of a lot of people. So that's something we're going to be returning to later in this hour because it's a complex issue. Bridget's going to rejoin us as well to discuss that, but we've other guests. If you want to get involved in that conversation, WhatsApp or text 086 60 25,000. Our focus so far, and perhaps will continue to be so, will be Inishowen into Letterkenny. Maybe you're in West Donegal, North West Donegal. Let us know what the situation is there, or maybe in the south of the county as well. And we'll just try and get to the bottom of it, especially in this day and age where we're being encouraged actually to get out of the cars, even if you're lucky enough to afford one and have one, to get out of the car and use the bus instead. But that can only be done if there is a reliable bus that gets you where you need to be at a reasonable time. Right, okay. A caller says, as a worker, I'm wondering, are we getting an increase in wages? As all the ones that don't are getting an increase, fair play to them. But as a worker who didn't get a wage increase in 17 years, isn't it time we did? Well, you will have more money put back on your pocket. It depends how much you earn, though. If you're earning around 50k, it's probably a reasonable, not significant, but it's a reasonable amount of money. It's not the £5 a week that we've sort of come to expect. If you're on 25 grand a year or the minimum wage or 35 grand a year, I'm not sure. That will all be teased out, and we'll have a money expert on the show tomorrow to try and ascertain exactly what the situation is there. This texter says the working husband and wife, middle of the road people are worse off as usual. Those on social welfare as usual will benefit the most, and also not forgetting the Ukrainians getting houses and food and heat all for nothing, even getting vouchers to get their hair dyed. What a great country we live in. Greg, why should the well-off not get the double child benefit and energy credit? They pay the most in taxes and need to benefit somehow. Otherwise, what is the point in working? I don't know what that politically, socialist or all this kind of stuff that means. But if you don't need it, right? There's want and need. Obviously, we'd want it, but if you don't need it, and I'm not against high earners. Don't get me wrong. I don't. People work very hard to accumulate their wealth, but you know what I'm talking about. There are people who the money, the child allowance just goes into the account. You know what I mean? It's not put to one side to try and it's not put to one side to try and pay for third level necessarily, because it can't be. You don't have to use it to buy coal or gas or pay a bill. Do you know what I mean? You're waiting on that money to come in on the first Tuesday of the month so you can get it out and pay a bill. It goes into your account, and if it didn't go into your account, you might not even notice it didn't go into your account. That's kind of what I'm talking about, and I think sort of taxation can be slightly better targeted. I'm not saying that rich people should be drained of their wealth. That's not what I'm not talking about. But, there are millionaires getting the child benefit that probably don't need it. In fact, they certainly don't need it and probably wouldn't even notice it's there or not. And there are families that are counting down the days to come. They're checking their balance over and over again to see if it's in yet, so they can withdraw it and put it against a bill, or put it against food, or put it against coal or home heating oil. I mean, that happens. And I just think that maybe some payments like that could be better targeted, and that also means that there's say for instance bans as it relates to the fuel allowance or the Susie grant, that there is some flexibility and understanding there, that people don't miss out on these benefits for €1 or €2 or €3, because if you get an extra €1 or €2, €3 a week, you're no better off than someone who's getting less, except that you don't get some of these benefits. So surely we could have a system that has a degree of fairness and flexibility to it. That's all I'm saying. A €12 rise in social welfare won't go far, but when will it be implemented? Will it be right away, or will people have to wait for months for it? It's needed right away. I suspect that will happen right away, but I don't want to mislead anyone either. But that's my understanding, because the whole idea of delaying a mini emergency budget in the summer was that they could bring the budget forward and implement some changes immediately, and I suspect that will be one of them. All right, Community Garda information on the way.
Would you like to win a Hyundai Kona car? Well, that's the first prize in the St. Eunan's GA Club Development Draw, who are sponsors of this week's 9 till noon show. There's 9 other great prizes, and tickets are now available online at steunan'sgadraw.com or any club member.
Oh, Amy, my little one. I ask myself a million questions every day. When will you give me your first smile? How much sleep do you need? How can I help you and your big brother to get along?
At the HSE's mychild.ie and in the free My Child books, you'll find the answers you need from doctors, midwives, public health nurses, dietitians and lots of other experts. mychild.ie. Expert advice for every step of pregnancy, baby and toddler health. From the HSE.
SafeTech are running a number of accredited programs this autumn, including basic scaffolding, electro and butt fusion welding, roadworks, plant and machinery, confined spaces, water hygiene for utilities, UK construction cards and more. Funding available on all these programs. T's and C's apply. For all your safety and training needs, visit safetech.ie.
We wish you a...
It may be too early for Christmas carols, but it's never too early to start the Christmas shopping. Save hundreds, possibly thousands of euros shopping online with Space Hub Derry. We provide a full virtual address mailbox service for all your Christmas parcels and post. Save hundreds, possibly thousands on customs charges this Christmas with Space Hub Derry. Call 04871 878077 for more details.
I've just had the Eclipse Cinemas experience. Wow, they truly have taken a night at the movies to a whole new level. Amazing recliner chairs, director's lounge VIP rooms, pizza and hot food served to your seat. Have a glass of wine and enjoy the film on the big screen. Try it for yourself at Eclipse Cinemas Bundoran and Lifford Strabane, where the stars shine brighter. By the way, the pizzas are amazing. You can book your seat anytime at eclipsecinemas.ie.
Here comes the aeroplane. And there go the peas.
You'll find expert advice on weaning at mychild.ie from the HSE.
At Ulster Bank, we are closing. And from the 8th of October, all customers whose accounts have passed the 6-month closure notice period will no longer be able to use their accounts. For our customers receiving social welfare payments, like pensions, child benefit, carers or disability allowances, Make sure your payments remain uninterrupted by switching your account now. Switch online in any branch or call our customer service team on 0818 210 260. Call costs may vary and calls from mobiles may not be free. Ulster Bank Ireland DAC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
The Community Garda information slot is brought to you by Sheridan Security Systems, protecting what you value most. Call today and get your zero-wire alarm system from €299. Sheridan Security, 91-26025.
Okay, it's time for Community Garda information for Tuesday the 27th of September 2022. And we're joined in studio now by Garda Grania Doherty of the Letterkenny Garda Station. Good morning, Grania.
Good morning, Greg.
How are you keeping?
I'm doing the best, yeah.
Good stuff. Right, okay. Now, it's 2 years of absolute heartache and worry for the Langelan family, because we are approaching, aren't we, the 2-year anniversary of Cian's disappearance, and it's still an active missing persons investigation, presumably, Grania.
It is, of course, yeah. So we just wanted to reissue the appeal today. So 2 years have passed since Cian Langelan was last seen. The last known sighting of Cian was on Sunday, the 27th of September 2020. That was in the Hornhead area of Donegal. Cian, he was aged 27 at that time. He was reported missing from the Falcara area. Cian is 5'8" tall, of medium build, and he has sandy coloured hair. He was wearing, when last seen, he was wearing blue jeans, a white t-shirt and black boots. So we're just appealing, look, if anybody has any information in relation to the whereabouts of Cian, or any information, however small, that might assist with the investigation, we urge them to contact Milford Gardaí on 9153060 or call the Garda Confidential line either on 1800 666 111. I've reposted the appeal to our own Garda Síochána Donegal Facebook page today with a photo there of Cian. And, you know, it's just been a horrific, it's unimaginable really, the horror and the grief and desperation that this family, and in particular Cian's mother, is feeling. So we do appeal to anybody, even if they had information at the time, felt it might not have been relevant. You know, it's never too late to come forward with that information, and we would ask them to do so.
Yeah, and also too, it'd be useful for people to share that post that you talk of as well, because the further and wider the story gets and the image gets, it only just gets someone to spot something that didn't hear about this the first time round. So share that post as well, I think, because if people don't have any information and they can't help, that is one way everyone can help.
It is, of course, yeah. So as I said, it was posted to our own page, and I know there is a Finding Cian page there as well, set up by his mother, and it's gaining momentum. You know, so it has great support. So please do share the post, share the photo. Any help whatsoever given would be most appreciated by Gardaí, and most especially by Cian's mother.
All right, okay. Now, Gardaí investigating a house fire in the Sesha O'Neill area of Ballybofey.
Yes, this fire happened at a vacant property, a small house just there in Sesha O'Neill. On Sunday the 25th of September, happened in around 11 p.m. So the fire services attended the scene, and luckily they got there in excellent time. They extinguished the fire, which had been confined mostly to one room. So that room there's quite extensive damage to that room, but the rest of the house has been damaged only by smoke, luckily, so that the rest of the house is still fairly structurally secure. So the house in question is located in close proximity to Sesha O'Neill Chapel. Gardaí are investigating all of the circumstances surrounding this fire. It hasn't been ruled out as of yet that this fire may have been started maliciously, so we appeal to anybody who witnessed any activity in that area on the night in question, last Sunday night in around 11 p.m, to contact Gardaí in Letterkenny on 9167100. We would also ask anybody who travelled in the Sesha O'Neill area, particularly up past Sesha O'Neill Chapel, that stretch of road, on Sunday night around that time, if they had a dash cam, just to make that footage available to Gardaí.
And the reason that's important, presumably, it could locate, if this turns out to be a maliciously started fire, people coming or going from the property, and that's the importance of something like that, isn't it? And people can be eliminated or whatever, and that's why, in a case like this, the dash cam footage is important to gain. That number, 9167100. Right, Gardaí in Milford now investigating a burglary.
Yeah, this burglary happened. It was actually it was vacant at the time, a holiday home there at Seaview Terrace on Main Street, Rathmullen. This happened between Thursday, September 22nd and Sunday, September 25th. So the owner of the property had been alerted actually that youths had been seen in and around the property, so then they went to check on the building, and when they arrived they discovered entry had been gained to the property. It's believed that access may have been gained through an upstairs unsecured window, and there was a smell of smoke in the house, and footprints were to be seen throughout the house also. Damage had been caused, now minor damage, to the shed door and also to one of the window hinges in the house. Some of the other windows in the house then had been left secured also by whoever had entered the house. So we appeal to anybody, look, especially residents in that area who may have seen suspicious activity in that area between the 22nd and 25th of September, to contact Gardaí in Milford on 91 53060. If anybody did observe youths or gangs of youths in and around any of the properties in that area, and if they can offer a good description of them, we would like to hear from them. And also, we're not placing blame on parents in any form, but we would just ask parents to please speak to their children and their teenagers in relation to the seriousness of this type of incident, and to urge their young people that, if they are in a group and this activity is taking place, just to, pull themselves away from that situation. It is quite a serious matter, it is classified as a burglary, and they may not realise that at the time,
But also, too, I think, and it maybe talks to the appeal last week in our conversation with the property owner earlier today in Moville, we also have to consider that maybe they haven't been informed of the fact that just because a premises has been vacant for a while, it doesn't mean that it's free to enter. It doesn't mean that you can, without consequence, go in and cause damage internally. I mean, we have to make sure our young people are equipped with all the facts. Now, a lot of that's common sense, and people might be screaming at the radio and me saying that, but these are conversations that we maybe sometimes avoid, but we do have to have.
Of course, yeah. And look, regardless of whether there are people in the property at the time or whether the property is vacant, the property does not belong to you. Quite simply, you're not allowed to enter it, and it is classed as a burglary, and these young people too, they'll want to travel in the future. They don't want any sort of a criminal record, and they don't want maybe to have even a juvenile caution on their record, and so we would just ask them to please pull back and distance themselves from that sort of activity.
And there's no justification for any crime, but there's nothing to this. It's pointless. It's pointless. It's like the case of Moville, nothing taken, just damage caused. It's you know what I mean. So it would be a pointless, completely pointless, as they all are, blot on your record if you ever wanted to go out to Australia or America, wherever it might be. Okay. Now, criminal damage in the Glencore area of Letterkenny.
Yeah, Letterkenny Gardaí are investigating this incident. It happened at Glencore Irish there in Letterkenny between Monday the 19th of September at 3 p.m. and Tuesday the 20th at 10 a.m. A resident in the area returned home to discover their front window had been smashed by rocks, and there was property damaged within the building as well. As a result of these rocks being thrown, there was a mirror smashed as one of the items that was damaged. A check then was carried out round the property, and the owner went to the rear of the property. They then discovered that the oil burner had also been stolen from the boiler at the back of the house. So we haven't established yet, if this theft occurred at the same time as the criminal damage incident, or it may have occurred earlier in the summer as the boiler hadn't been in use for a number of months. We're just appealing anyway to witnesses to the incident of criminal damage to contact us in Letterkenny on 9167100. And in relation to the oil burner, if anybody in that area observed any suspicious activity in that area over the past number of weeks or months, or if they have any relevant information in relation to either incident, please alert Gardaí in Letterkenny or contact the Garda Confidential line again on 1800 666 111.
Okay, while we're sleeping, the scammers are coming up with new ways to try and defraud us. And another clever one, I suppose it has to be said, but one we have to be extra clever to avoid.
Yeah, and we have mentioned this before, I know when it was posted previously to our Facebook page, but I actually got notification from a lady there during the week to say that a number of her friends this week had received this text message. Some of these people aren't mothers, so therefore the message would have come in the form of, hey mum, so automatically they realised it was a scam, but they notified us anyway just to make other people aware, because this scam is on the go at the moment. So it's known as the Grandparent Scam. So members of the public, they'll receive a random text message purporting to be from a family member stating they need financial help, or they're in some sort of trouble and it needs to be kept secret. And the person sending the text message will pretend to be a family member, a son, daughter, sibling, grandchild. They may say they've lost their phone and are making contact now. This is their new number. They're usually based in a foreign jurisdiction. The fraudulent text will state that they require urgent financial assistance, maybe to pay an urgent medical bill or a fine. The victim of this fraud will then make a direct payment to the fraudster's account. And I suppose, look, that's a mother being a mother. And if you're getting texts from a son or daughter who are seeking your assistance, the instinct kicks in to help them automatically. But
you don't say, Dad.
No. The daddies just might not be so forthcoming. Maybe I don't know.
Not even open the text. And they can, before you go on with what else they can cast the net. So why it costs nothing for them to send 100,000 texts?
Yeah.
And they only need 5 out of 100,000. It's probably not on that scale, but they only need a fraction of those they send this text to respond to it in that heat of the moment, because it instills panic. And as soon as we have panic, we our normal sensibilities that we believe we have, which we probably do, they go out the window, because it's someone we care about. They're firstly dragging us into their trust, and and they need our help. So we put to one side the normal protections in our mind that we might normally have there, and it doesn't need an awful lot of people from all of the people they send this to. Right, so the victim of the fraud, as you say, makes a direct payment to the fraudster's account. So what advice have you got from the Gardaí?
Yeah, so we're just advising the public, be very wary of any unsolicited text message that you get from an unknown number. Don't volunteer information. Fraudsters are known to fish for facts, which they then use to make themselves sound more credible. Resist the urge to act immediately, and as you've said, there is an emotional element attached to this, so resist that urge. Don't act immediately, no matter how dramatic this story is. Verify the person's identity, perhaps ask questions that a stranger couldn't possibly answer. Call a family member to verify if somebody is operating under a different number, even if you've told to keep the story a secret. Don't send cash, gift cards, money transfers. Once they receive that money, that money's gone. Trust your instincts. The fraudsters can also make contact via social media platforms using fake profiles as well. So just, another scam I wanted to mention to you. I had an elderly gentleman call to the station, and it was very good of him to call in. And this was one that was on the go for a long time before we mentioned it, I think. He had a letter with him. The letter was addressed to him. His correct name and address was on this letter. It was from Madrid, a solicitor's office in Madrid, stating that he was the beneficiary of a will, and of course he was going to be awarded 6 point something million, and of course then with the correct name and address on the letter, that adds credibility to it. That's the worrying part of it. So sometimes these letters also inform you that you've won a massive amount of money. But look, the aim of the game is they want your cash. There's no such thing. You're not, if it sounds too good to be true, it usually is. You're not going to be awarded a massive amount of money. Obviously, if you don't have relations in Madrid or France or Germany or wherever this letter is purported to have originated from, then it's a scam.
You see, the thing is too, and there's a show on during the day. I'm not sure if I can't remember what it's called. It's like Will Hunters or something, right? Where the cameras follow around a team that try and track down people who are the beneficiaries of wills, like a far third cousin or something. And if you watch that program on a regular basis, it might sort of switch something in your brain that says, well, maybe this did happen, or you know what I mean? So that I think I'm not saying they know about programs like this, they sure they do, but if you're of that mindset and you watch this show all the time, you might think, right, this even if there's a 1% chance this is real, 6 million quid, so.
I know, and look at
Hair Hunters, I think it's called, HEIR Hunters.
Yeah. But look, the common sense is there, and I'd say automatically when people receive this letter, their instincts tell them that it's a scam. But as you say, it's a life-changing amount of money, and I suppose that ignites a spark of hope that maybe, just maybe, and they have my correct name and address on the letter as well. So we would just ask anybody, if they have fallen victim to this scam, contact your bank first of all, contact them without delay, report the matter to us, and should anybody ever receive any correspondence by email, text, by post, and they're unsure about it, don't act on your impulses and just hold back, don't answer, don't respond, don't give any financial details. Call to your local Garda station, call it, or give us a ring and explain what has happened, and let us advise you from there.
Yeah, exactly. It's just that reassurance.
Yeah, it's just to reassure.
The reassurance. Oh, you've seen this before. It just means because you can throw it in because I remember Dad got one of these, and I assured him it was a scam, but he didn't throw the letter away.
No, just in case.
Just in case. Yeah, I remember I went back to that. About 3 months later, it was still sitting on the coffee table. Do you know what I mean? But maybe he would have taken more trust from the Gardaí. So I understand how someone might go, God, even if there's a chance this could be true, all they need is my bank account to make sure. So ignore that, ignore them, and if you need extra reassurance, contact your local Garda station for advice there. Now, the Donegal Garda Youth Awards presentations took place in the old courthouse in Lifford, and we got the information sent through to us, and you posted on your social, I posted on mine. Do you know what was so encouraging? The public feedback.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think there's over 1,000 people liked it on my page, and tons and tons of comments recognising this award for these young people. That was fantastic. And it sort of blew up for me, you know, how important it was. I knew it was important, but just to see the public recognising these young people after they were recognised through this awards scheme was so encouraging. The awards were given out on September 23rd.
They were down in the old courthouse there in Lifford just last Friday. So we just want to congratulate all of the young people. You know, there were 4 overall winners, 4 categories in which they won an award. But really, we want to congratulate all of the young people who were nominated. Everybody received a certificate of nomination. So we want to congratulate them all. They all deserve recognition.
Because all of them were important enough for someone to nominate them. And that in and of itself, that if someone thinks that of you, I think that's a great honour.
It's
and that recognised. Now, to be an overall winner...
But unfortunately,
I'd like that.
Yeah,
but,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it had to be narrowed down. It was a tough job narrowing it down, but they all deserve recognition. They're all fantastic role models for their peers. But unfortunately, as I said, not everybody could win an overall award. So, the 4 overall winners, I have a wee bit about each of them. I posted it to our page, you know, to name the winners, and there's photographs there of them receiving their award. But I was just going to say a few lines just about each, you know, why they were nominated, a reason for their nomination.
You're asking me
okay.
for permission. You're the guard.
Yeah, well,
you can do whatever you like.
Yeah. I could be here till late evening. I've quite a bit typed up here.
I was going to say.
I'll narrow it down. I'll summarise it.
I'll leave it in your capable hands, Grania.
So Josh Marley, he's from Lifford. He was our individual award winner. So Josh entered the river at Lifford Bridge on the night of the 27th of August 21 in order to rescue a female who was in extreme distress. He did this without any consideration for his own safety or well-being, and he managed to bring the woman to the safety of the riverbank, where the emergency services were then contacted. So the actions of Josh on the night in question were selfless and very courageous. He displayed great strength of character, and he managed to keep a level head in what was, you know, an emergency situation. So it was just felt Josh is a fantastic role model for others. He's great to be greatly admired for his instant willingness to help others in their time of need.
Well done, Josh, and I'm sure all his family and friends are super proud of him as well. A brilliant thing to do, Josh, and it'll stick with you for the rest of your life as well, in a really nice, positive way. Okay.
Now, so the second winners were the group winners. That's the transition year students from Scullwarra and Crana College in Buncrana. So the transition year students from both schools went together on this initiative. So they have volunteered to help with the redevelopment of Swan Park, which of course suffered a lot of devastation during the recent floods. The park lost a lot of animal and plant life as a result of the floods. So the students have joined up with Donegal County Council, Wildlife Inishowen, and also the Angling Centre. They've been busy planning, sketching and developing information boards detailing the flora and fauna of the park. The students are incorporating Braille into the boards to be inclusive to everybody. They're also taking into consideration the height of these boards, you know, just in an effort to make them available for all to use and enjoy. QR codes are going to be added to these boards, so this will allow for the translation of the information into many different languages for tourists and visitors to the park. These students meet regularly with representatives from each of the other groups involved, and they spend an awful lot of their own time outside school hours conducting research and creating sketches. They give up an awful lot of their free time, as I said already, and they do so with the good of their local community in mind. They've shown and continue to show great determination and enthusiasm. So when completed, these boards will be a fantastic asset to Swan Park, and they will undoubtedly encourage visitors to come to the park. And the boards will also be a great source of information in relation to the vast number of organisms present in Swan Park, and will encourage the conservation of them. So well done to them as well.
And let's keep including our young people. They're the ones with the new and fresh ideas.
Yep. Now, we'll move on now to the Community Safety Awards. So that was 2 local lads, Alan Mccarron and Karmic Brady. So Alan and Karmic took part in a youth leadership initiative between February 21 and September 21. So as part of this initiative, they completed a leadership community action project. They got their heads together, they decided to collaborate with Letterkenny Fire Service, and they set about visiting the elderly in the Termon and Kilmacrennan areas to check and install fire alarms. They acquired boxes of fire alarms from Letterkenny Fire Service, and they then called to the homes of the elderly, distributing them. They checked existing alarms. They were shocked to find that many of these alarms were very rarely checked, or the batteries had run out. So they replaced the batteries and any alarms that needed new batteries, and they collected information then from each home they visited. This information was passed on to Letterkenny Fire Service and would be stored on a database, so that a return visit will then be arranged after the 2 years have passed to recheck the fire alarms again at these homes. So this, of course, gave great comfort to the elderly people that they visited. They distributed leaflets at the houses they called to in an effort to raise awareness about carbon monoxide poisoning. Alan and Karmic also distributed information posters to shops to inform the community that they were calling to houses just to reassure them about the reason for their visit. They carried out fire safety leaflet drops at schools, churches and bingo centres. They spent their time providing a free and possibly life-saving service, and they did so with great enthusiasm.
Yeah, and you know, we'll never know whether or not, you know, what impact this might have, but one thing we certainly can know is the reassurance for people, you know, maybe if they're living on their own, or maybe if it's a high smoke alarm and it's hard to get at, that they can go to bed at night reassured that the alarm is functioning and running, which is lovely. Brilliant stuff. That's a fantastic initiative.
This was also during COVID times as well, you know, and of course all COVID regulations were adhered to, but the boys also felt that, you know, for a lot of these elderly people who did live alone, that it was a friendly face, you know, it was a visit also when they were there, and a friendly face 100%. And someone to talk to while they were there.
All right, Special Achievement Award went to Manus Doherty in Culdaff.
Yeah, so Manus is involved in the Make Action Group. Manus' daddy is Michael Doherty, who you speak to often on the show. Yeah, so the Make crisis has been around for most of Manus' life. He's seen firsthand the toll that the crisis has had on his family and also on the wider community. Manus gives freely of his time and has done so for quite some time in his involvement with the Make Action Group. He's driven by a strong desire to improve the situation for his family, and not only his family but for his community, by campaigning, attending meetings, etc. Manus has attended many Maker-related events, and he spoke confidently to crowds of people at the Make stand at Self-Build Ireland in March of this year. Manus has played, and he continues to play, an invaluable role within the Make Action Group. He is determined, passionate and extremely community spirited, and he's a fantastic role model for his peers.
Well done. Well, he didn't lick it off the grass either.
No.
But well done to Manus. A great recognition of his work. Yeah. And, you know, these young people too, because when we cover different issues like this, you could be mistaken in thinking something different of our young people. That's the reality, and you as a guard know this, as the force know this, Grania. These people are representative of the absolute majority of young people out there, aren't they? Our young people are amazing, they are fantastic, they are involved in the community, in sport, and maybe carers for grandparents or whatever. You know, this is what the majority of young people in our country are like, and these are the sort of the faces of our amazing young people.
Of course. And then I know in relation to the incident earlier, you know, we were mentioning gangs of youth seen around the area, and sometimes we do appeals, you know, like that, seeking any sightings of young people in areas where groups were hanging out, and it's not something that we want to do. We don't, you know, nobody takes pleasure in that. We
don't want to be speaking. With that microphone?
Oh, do you want me to sit back? Nobody wants to speak negatively in relation to young people, you know, and the vast majority of young people are fantastic young people, you know, and as I said, even those who didn't receive the overall award, you know, their achievements were fantastic also, and it's great to recognise all of that. And we would actually encourage people too for next year for the Youth Awards. You know, it will be advertised on here, on the radio slot and on our Facebook page, and we would love to see more nominations.
I think they go from strength to strength as well. Do you know what I mean? And I think the as I said earlier on, what I loved was the public recognition of them, that they went, well done Josh, well done transition year students, well done Manus. Do you know what I mean? And that means that it's really worthwhile. Now, no pressure, but some of these could go on, they all go on to the national awards, and what they've achieved so far is plenty, but who's to say what happens next then?
Yeah, so now all of the award winners, these four overall winners, they're going to be put forward now. They'll represent Donegal for consideration at the national awards level. So we wish them the very best luck at that, and we are sure they'll continue to do their families and Donegal proud in the future. And as you say, no pressure, but we have done extremely well at national level over the past few years. But we do genuinely...
if they don't win, it's obviously fixed.
Yeah, we do wish them the very best. And all of the people that were nominated, we wish them all the very best in the future.
Yeah, exactly. And all to mums and dads, granny and granddads and caregivers, all fully, really immensely proud. You can only imagine.
Yeah, well, they should be proud. They should
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, listen, we're all proud of our young ones. Thanks so much, Grania.
No problem.
We'll be back with the Community Guard information item next Tuesday after the 10 o'clock news. And that was Garda Grania Doherty from the Letterkenny Garda Station with today's episode. Okay, it is time for a break. And before that, the bingo numbers. I'm so sorry.
It's time for NCBI Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Tuesday, the 27th of September. You're playing on the brown sheet. The reference number is S12. It's game number 39. The numbers are 19, 5, 18, 9, 20, 63, 65, 90, 74, and finally 2. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your NCBI bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Would you like to win a Hyundai Kona car? Well, that's the first prize in the St. Eunan's GA Club Development Draw, who are sponsors of this week's 9 till noon show. There's 9 other great prizes, and tickets are now available online at stunansgadraw.com or any club member.
Let Joe McGee Butchers feed your family with their 5 for €20 deal. Choose from our fantastic deli range. Lasagnas, cottage pie, chicken curry and soups. Just a sample of our fine products, all made in store only at Joe McGee Butchers, Letterkenny and Glencore shopping centres. Find us on Facebook and Instagram.
Want unbeatable value from Sky? Here's the deal. Get Sky Broadband for just €29 a month, plus Sky Q for only €10 a month. Super fast, super reliable broadband. And Sky Q with your apps and recordings. That's Sky Broadband for €29 a month, plus Sky Q for €10 a month for 12 months. Now that is unbeatable value. Go to sky.ie. Availability subject to location. Offer does not include Sky TV subscription. New Sky customers only. Setup fees, minimum term and further terms apply. For more info, see sky.ie/speeds.
Callahan's Gala and Go Birch, your one-stop family shop. With over 50 years of experience, we pride ourselves in providing a top-class customer experience. Keen fuel prices, convenience shop, hot deli, hardware,
and Frosty's famous special recipe ice cream.
Family-run, helpful staff and service with a smile.
Sure, it's all go at Callahan's.
Book a private VIP screening at Century Cinemas. Perfect for celebrating birthdays and special occasions. Featuring a private VIP screening with luxury reclining seating, delicious popcorn and a brilliant choice of movies. For further information on our VIP packages, call Century Complex Letterkenny on 07491 21976 or visit centurycinemas.ie.
At Ulster Bank, we are closing. And from the 8th of October, all customers whose accounts have passed the 6-month closure notice period will no longer be able to use their accounts. For our customers receiving social welfare payments, like pensions, child benefit, carers or disability allowances, make sure your payments remain uninterrupted by switching your account now. Switch online in any branch or call our customer service team on 0818 210 260. Call costs may vary and calls from mobiles may not be free. Ulster Bank Ireland DAC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Okay, we'll pray that for my brother Charlie Gallagher. A very happy 60th birthday, Charlie. Today, the cake won't hold all those candles. That comes in from Margaret and Tommy. That's not the same cake that was being delivered in a link box, was it, on Lee Gucci's show? But anyway, happy birthday, Charlie Gallagher. We'll play that for you. That was Dolores Keane there and Caledonian. 086 60 25,000. Congratulations to all those young people. Well done to them. And even those who took part but didn't win an award. I've always said our young people are brilliant. That comes in from Mary C. Well, Mary C., the good thing is, and this is why I think it's an extra special good, even anyone that was nominated got a cert. So their nomination was recognised. So they'll feel hopefully that that they're appreciated as they are. Aquila says vandalism is a regular occurrence in Carndonagh. One was totally burnt out, the doors were ripped off, windows smashed. I wish that man luck. Behaviour is all learnt from a young age. Hi Greg, can you please get some clarity for people around Ulster Bank's closing? The adverts say they're closing the 8th of October. However, I contacted Ulster Bank customer service yesterday and they told me not all accounts are closing on the date and some accounts will remain open until January 2023. Many thanks. Well, you see, if you got notification of 6 months... Now, I'll get the exact terminology because I don't want to mislead anyone here because this is an important factor. But there are... some people were given a 6 months notice on their accounts and others not. So I think those that were told that they had to sort out their accounts in 6 months might find a loss of services on October 8th. I wonder, am I amongst them? I don't know. I got another email from them, but I think from conditioned in years of burying my head in the sand as soon as I get notifications from a bank. But listen, let me dig out the exact information on that, but I believe that's the case. Some people, and I don't know what the criteria were, but some people were given 6 months notice of their account closing, and it is they, I believe, that are affected by the 8th of October closing. So bear with me on that and I'll get the proper information for you. Good morning, Greg. Could you tell me why there are Ukrainian vehicles here? How many safe countries did they drive through to get to the best free handouts? This is a joke. I think maybe... I'm not here to defend anything, by the way. I'm just here to sort of state why they would have their cars with them. Say, for instance, anywhere in this country could be bombed. Your refugee status is not based on your income, right? So you could have people fleeing Ukraine who are homeless. Or you could have people who worked in the local bank. Okay, so the idea is that Russia could drop a nuclear tactical nuke anywhere in Ukraine whatsoever. So you get your family out and get safe. Now, people weren't in certain areas in around Kyiv, and the villages close to Kyiv, they were being bombed and taken over by Russia at that time, right? So presumably at that point, you grab a bag and you run. Okay, but if you don't feel safe in that country and you are leaving that country, you could have wealth as well. I'm not sure if the support that Ireland is giving refugees is index linked, but we are not only just taking in refugees that are hard up, if you know what I mean. So people, if they had a Audi Q5 and they were in Ukraine and they thought, right, I don't feel safe here. Russia is at war with this country. I am fleeing here. There would be nothing to stop them loading up the Q5 with as much stuff as they could get into it, driving into Poland and onward to their place of refuge here being Ireland. Now, you might disagree with that and say, well, because you have a Q5, you should stay in Ukraine or you should leave it behind you. But there's nothing to stop them taking it with them because they still would be fleeing a war. A lot of the people that are here are professionals. They worked in media, as I say, banking, financial services and what have you. And some of them took their cars with them as they fled. So that would be the reason why. Now, whether you agree with it or not, I don't know. But refugee or does not equal having nothing. Do you know what I mean? There's not a class system. So if you're fleeing Ukraine, you don't have to leave what you have behind you. There's probably people fled with a trunk full of cash. I don't know. If they had cash in the house, they're not going to leave that behind them either, are they? So I don't know. So someone having a car... it doesn't affect their refugee status. Now, you could then start arguing, well, what kind of supports are they getting from the government? If they can afford this fancy car or a car, are they still getting all the money from... That is certainly something that could or should be clarified. But the majority of this is European money. It's part of the war effort. You know, you put these sanctions on Russia. You send weapons in Ukraine to hold Russia back. Part of the cost of that is displacing people, and the EU has taken a decision to fund the displacement of these people. And that's just part of the war effort in inverted commas. So it's whether someone comes over here with their car or not, they could be towing their caravan, their holiday home, whatever. That doesn't mean they're not refugees. That just means they're refugees that were able to flee with their stuff and have at least have money in terms of assets, their cars. Then you can perhaps ask the question, you know, are they still getting the same level of government support as those who clearly have nothing? But I don't know the answer to that question. But the fact that there's Ukrainian registered vehicles in Ireland, you know, as I say, there's the income or wealth of the refugees not considered. It's the fact that they don't feel safe in Ukraine and they're offered asylum or safety here or refuge here. So I know it's been made a big deal, but Ukrainian cars and car parks, it doesn't really... That's not the issue. The issue, I suppose, if someone wanted to take issue is that do they have money of their own, and are they still receiving support from the government at the same level as those who have nothing? And I think that's certainly worthy of investigation. But the fact there's Ukrainian cars here, that doesn't surprise me in the slightest. But obviously people are at the moment very, very wound up on this issue. Many people are. And when I say wound up, I understand it. By the way, I'm not saying wound up in a derogatory sense. These people from Ukraine are inviting their relations to come here. Who do they think they are? These people are getting social welfare, yet they have to pay for nothing. How much has been sent back to the Ukraine? The bottom line is there's no status. If you're in Ukraine and you want to come here or anywhere in Europe, you can. You know, as I say, it doesn't matter if you're a relative or invited or someone says, you know what, Ireland's all right, it feels safe and you're supported. I mean, that's the system and they're sending it out. And as I say, you know, this is part of the EU's response to everything that's going on, whether people agree with it or not.
The 9 till noon show with St Eunan's GA Club Development Draw. €40,000 in prizes. First prize, a Hyundai Kona car, plus 9 other great prizes. Tickets now available online at steunans.gadraw.com or any club member.
Go full Lidl and feed a family of 4 for less than €5 with these incredible offers for a chicken fajita dinner. Go fantastic fajita kits for just $1.49, sweet corn a very sweet 27 cent, fresh Irish mushrooms just 49 cent, and Irish chicken thighs only $2.69. Go on, shop without compromise. Go full Lidl today.
We wish you a...
It may be too early for Christmas carols, but it's never too early to start the Christmas shopping. Save hundreds, possibly thousands of euros shopping online with Space Hub Derry. We provide a full virtual address mailbox service for all your Christmas parcels and post. Save hundreds, possibly thousands on customs charges this Christmas with Space Hub Derry. Call 04871 878077 for more details.
Milford Tiles, Wood Flooring and Bathware, Milford Retail Park, now open. Large range of wall and floor tiles on display and in stock. Over 70 different laminate floors to suit every pocket. Tilers and wood fitters available. New Bathware showroom now open. Milford Tiles, Wood Flooring and Bathware. 083 091 0707.
If you're aged 50 to 64, it's time to boost your protection from COVID-19. Your protection from previous vaccines or from COVID-19 infection decreases over time. Your next vaccine will help protect you from serious illness in the months ahead. Book an appointment at a HSE vaccination centre on hse.ie. Call our team in HSE Live on 1800 700 700 or contact a participating GP or pharmacy from the HSE. For us all.
Paul Claffey Tours are delighted to announce that we're heading back to sunny Spain for a second week in June 2023 and once again staying at the luxury Barossa Hotel Complex, Cadiz, Spain from June 15th to 22nd. Joining Paul for this unforgettable week will be some of Ireland's best love entertainers, Michael English and his band, and many friends including Brendan Shine, Dominic Kerwin, John McNichol, Jerry Guthrie, Tim Devine, John Hogan, the Stephen Smith Band, The Conquerors, Sean Wilson, John Malloy and more. The price is only €1,079 half board plus tax and insurance. Call 01685 2244 or see paulclaffeytours.com and don't miss the holiday of a lifetime.
If you're in business and you need to accept card payments, An Post offer the best value in card payment solutions, saving Irish businesses on average 25% on current costs. It's fast and easy to set up or switch. Your money hits your account the next day. Call An Post on 1-800-300-150 or email cardpayments@anpost.ie and start accepting card payments today.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
Okay, it is just turning a minute past 11. Stay with us, another interesting hour on the way. You won't want to miss it. But let's get a news update now and say good morning once again, Emma Ryan.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. Gardaí have renewed their appeal for information over missing man Cian Langlin and on the second anniversary of his disappearance. The last known sighting of Cian was on Sunday, September 27th, 2020 in the Hornhead area of Donegal. Cian, aged 27 at the time, was reported missing from the Volcara area. Cian is 5 foot 8 inches tall and of medium build with sandy coloured hair. Speaking on today's 9 till Noon show, Garda Grania Doherty appealed for anyone with information to come forward. 3 men are due in court in relation to the theft of scratch cards from shops across Derry. 2 of the men, aged 24 and 27, are due in court today. The third, aged 28, is due in court on October 19th. The 27-year-old man is also being reported to the Public Prosecution Service in relation to 6 offences of driving while disqualified and obstructing police. Gardaí are appealing for information after a house in Balbafay was set on fire. The fire broke out at a vacant property in Sheshoney last Sunday night at around 11 p.m. Extensive damage was caused to one room of the house. Inquiries are ongoing and Garda Grania Doherty says they are investigating whether the fire was started deliberately. The owner of a holiday property in Mayville, which was badly damaged after what appears to have been a series of break-ins in recent weeks, has appealed for information about what happened. Sam is offering a reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of those behind the break-ins at the old barracks on James's Street, which had been converted into holiday apartments used by him and his family. He estimated there could be up to €40,000 worth of damage. Donegal County Council is to ask the government to prioritise the Letterkenny campus of Atlantic Technological University when it comes to the provision of on-campus accommodation. The council passed an emergency motion moved by Councillor Michael McBride at the plenary meeting this week, in which he argued preferential treatment is not just desirable, it is essential. And finally, the government is set to announce a bumper budget package worth more than €10 billion as it tries to battle the soaring cost of living. The plan will be largely aimed at young families, with students also set to significantly benefit. That's all for now. We'll be back with a news update again at 12 noon.
Thank you very much, Emma. Good morning to you too. Okay. Talking as it relates to the initiatives that should be in this budget for students, not surprisingly, a number of you are questioning whether or not this will apply to cross-border students. So I will get clarification on that for you. So stay. There's going to be little elements of this budget that's going to take a while to sort out, but I'm conscious that obviously there's a cross-border element to student life, particularly here in the Northwest, and we're going to get some clarification in relation to that. If you pay your fees in Northern Ireland, which I suspect cross-border students do, that might be a complication because I think this is student fees paid in the Republic, but I don't want to mislead you either. But I can understand there's a bit of anxiety out there as to whether or not this will apply to some families. But I assure you, as we always try and do on this programme, as soon as we get an inquiry from you, we try and get to the bottom of it. So stay tuned. Right, okay, there is a national roadshow taking place in Letterkenny this evening. It's organised by the Spinal Injuries Ireland organisation, and we're going to be speaking about that and so much more besides in the next hour. Stay tuned though.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
Would you like to win a Hyundai Kona car? Well, that's the first prize in the St. Eunan's GA Club Development Draw, who are sponsors of this week's 9 till noon show. There's 9 other great prizes, and tickets are now available online at stunansgadraw.com or any club member.
Save on your shopping at Kelly Centra in Letterkenny. In store, you'll find the great value Centra range and a super selection of fresh produce, including fresh meat. Many back-to-school favourites are half price. Find all your day-to-day needs with great mega deals every week at Kelly Centra, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
Farmers, you're built different. One step after the other, you don't see the rewards for months or years. That's life on the farm. Or you could say, that's life in rehab. When you're learning to walk after a machinery injury, one step after the other, you don't see the rewards for months or years. Just because you've the strength to see you through rehab, it doesn't mean you should have to. Farmers, always take care around machinery. From the Health and Safety Authority, visit hsa.ie/farm safety.
Nutria's Winter Beef Feed offer, directly supported by the Arrivo Fodder Support Fund, is now available at your local Homeland store. Buy 10 bags of Nutria's Super Beef Gold ATP or Nutria's Max Maize Mix, get one free. The Nutria's Beef ATP pack enhances animal performance through maximising rumen efficiency. T's and C's apply. Contact your local Homeland or farm commercial specialist today. Visit nutrias.ie for full product details. At Hickey Clark and Langan Insurance Brokers, they compare quotes from all the leading insurers, so you get a great price. Home, motor and van, farm, holiday home, travel and liability insurance, they quote them all. So if the worst happens, you're covered. For a competitive insurance quote today, call Hickey Clark and Langan on 9126688 or pop into their office at Ballymacool, Letterkenny. Hickey Clark and Langan General Insurances Limited, trading as Hickey Clark and Langan, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Have you an account with Ulster Bank or KBC?
Yeah.
Do you get a social welfare payment into your account?
Yep.
Your bank is leaving the Irish market.
Yeah, that's right.
Have you switched to a new bank and updated your new account details with the Department of Social Protection?
Updated?
You need to let us know your new account details to ensure you continue to get your social welfare payment. The quickest way to update your account details is online at mywelfare.ie.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Now, This Is My Life is a national roadshow which will be held in the Radisson Hotel in Letterkenny this evening. It starts at 6 p.m. It's being organised by the Spinal Injuries Ireland Group to provide public representatives in Donegal with a better understanding of the issues that people living with a spinal cord injury face on a daily basis. Now, Fiona Bolger is a CEO of Spinal Injuries Ireland and joins us on the programme now. Good morning to you, Fiona.
Good morning, Greg. Thank you for having us on this morning.
It's great to have you with us. And we're also going to be speaking to Anne-Marie Weir from Ardra, who is a walker with an L2, L3 incomplete injury since 2016. A very good morning to you, Anne-Marie.
Hi, Greg.
Thanks so much for joining us. And I'll come back to you if that's okay. I'll start with Fiona. So talk to me about this roadshow, who's invited and what people might hear, Fiona.
Okay, well, we issued, like an awful lot of organisations, we issued our pre-budget submission at the end of August. So all during the month of September, we've been going to different venues around Ireland, trying to create awareness of what it's like to live with a spinal cord injury in Ireland, in the current environment. So we invited politicians. We obviously, talked to the media as we went around the country as well. And really, the main thing that we wanted to highlight is that people with a spinal cord injury are not automatically entitled to a medical card. It's based on means, not needs. So I suppose just to give a little bit of background to all of that, a spinal cord injury it's described by the World Health Organization as one of the most devastating injuries that a person can sustain. And it has a lot of life changes for people, and their medical needs are very high. And also, there's no two injuries the same in that, you can't predict, what level of either medical devices or, medicines that people will need. So people really need their medical card to access community health services.
Yeah, so we know that obviously the life-changing physical challenges, the emotional challenges, maybe even what might have to be done to the property or a change of accommodation, you don't need then the complication of regularly having to apply for a medical card. Firstly, not knowing if you'll get it, but secondly, also not knowing if you'll retain it. It's an extra layer of distress and anxiety that's really not needed.
Absolutely. I mean, it causes huge stress to people. I mean, we've heard stories all around the country. I mean, there was one young lady who, is working full time, paying a mortgage. She's a wheelchair user, but she lives in fear of her medical card being up for renewal. So it's up in the next few months. So she starts stockpiling catheters, and her view is that she has to give up work if she loses her medical card, because she'll have to go on to social welfare. And that's really, it's a huge block for people participating fully in society.
And also too, like, it's not, I presume the majority don't get better all of a sudden. In other words, you're having to, if this was accepted at the first point, I mean, obviously things have to be reviewed, but that this is something that's going to stay with someone. Having to prove that you are in the same condition, and we always would hope for improvement, but having to prove basically that you're in the same condition every time, and we've had a similar story. It's not similar, but it's in the same space of people with life-limiting illness. Not life-limiting, but actually the term of the life. Terminal diagnosis, for example, having to prove over and over again that they are going to die. Do you know what I mean? It's not a good bedside manner for a health system.
No, most definitely not. And people just find it so devastating that, every time they're asked, has there been any improvement in their condition, And I suppose what people don't understand with spinal cord injury, there's many levels, I mean, you could be, paraplegic or, paralyzed from the neck down. So it depends on where your injury is as to your level of injury, So one thing that people don't realize is that, 40% of people actually walk post-injury. But that can come with a lot of medical issues as well, and pain, and it doesn't mean that people don't have the same other personal care issues.
There's parts of the body may have to bear weights that were never designed to bear weight like they do, or move like they should. And also too, when we talk, people might go, well, this isn't relevant to me. The reality is we might hope it may never happen to us, or maybe even believe or never consider it might happen to us. But a spinal cord injury can happen to anyone at any time. It is rare, obviously, but we never know with life events. A fall from a ladder, a bus disc, a car collision. Do you know what I mean? So this is relevant to us all, even if we're not directly affected by it.
And Greg, with an aging population as well, first of all, the falls in your own home under 2 meters, the average age is 54 years of age. Also as well, we're seeing an awful lot of non-traumatic. There's actually an increase in the number of people sustaining spinal cord injuries, because there's a lot of, with an aging population, of people getting cancerous tumours on the spine or spinal strokes, or there's a number of different conditions like cauda-equina syndrome.
Well, maybe at this point we should bring Anne-Marie into the conversation, because I think, Anne-Marie, your story, and it starts in 2016 in terms of your injury. You acquired your spinal cord damage in a way that's just been referenced to some extent, but people might not realise. Can you tell us as much as you're comfortable to talk to us about it, Anne-Marie?
2015 September, yesterday.
Sorry, my mistake.
Yeah. No, that's okay. And pre-spinal injury, like, I was very active. I was 46-year-old, 3 kids. Out working full time, beach, very active life and all. Went to the GP on the Friday evening. Was sent to Sligo and rushed to Dublin. Very traumatic. Big impact and profound impact on the family life.
And it was a disc bursting. Was this?
A disc ruptured into the spinal cord, and it caused a very rare thing called quad-equina.
Yeah.
So quad-equina would be the horse's tail at the end of the spine, the nerve roots. So that was compressed, and some of that, more that I had the surgery, some of it was failed. The nerves were severed or compressed beyond repair. I'm 7 years on now, and I would still have lifelong effect. I would be prone to falls. I would use a wheelchair quite a lot, and if I go out at all, any uneven ground, or I rely on people to help me a lot, and depending on my family, depending on people coming in to help me. I like Fiona said, the cost incurred. Like I'm in rural Ireland, and I have to travel up and down to Dublin quite a lot for rehab and medical appointments, and I would have to stay up there maybe, and even the cost of traveling up and down, and medical devices. I got a spinal cord implant, stimulator implanted, and that would be reviewed, and the battery would be changed every 8 to 10 years and that. And like the medical card, if you don't have the medical card at a time like that, the cost incurred are just massive, like between accommodation, surgical,
And you're one of those people that has to reapply. I mean, you are very familiar with what the impact this will have on the rest of your life, but you have to reapply every few years for your medical card.
Yeah, I'm left with this injury for the rest of my life, and from not even year to year, from week to week, month to month, I don't know if it's going to get worse, if it's, you know what I mean? Like it's.
But you could get a letter from a consultant to say you are not going to be walking around, the spine's not going to repair itself. Do you know what I mean? This would be easy to establish early on. Yeah. Yeah,
many a letter from consultant and doctors and GPs and whatever, but it makes no difference. Like if you're 10 year over, you don't get that medical card. Like
you talked about having to use a wheelchair or choosing to. You do walk and recently started driving with hand controls. So I suppose it's about adapting to make your life as independent and active as possible, I suppose. Is it, Anne-Marie?
7 years since I drove, and with the help of IWA and all, I got the lessons and assessment and all, and I started driving, but again, very limited because the pain elevates. I have numbness in the waist down, and I haven't the full power on the right side. So again, like the cost incurred there were massive. Like
pain management's very expensive too, isn't it?
Very expensive, yeah. And there's other therapies, like there'd be physio down to the line. I got acupuncture, that's all cost incurred out of my own pocket. Like, and it is life changing. And even again, like in a small town, transport, you don't get the transport links. You don't. Buildings aren't, footpaths aren't equipped for wheelchair, like, so it means that you don't get out as much as you would like to get out.
Did you find, Anne-Marie, that I mean, it seems an obvious question, but it's just to wake us all up a little bit. Yeah. All of a sudden, you became aware of accessibility. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was recently, not so long ago, in the company of someone who's a wheelchair user, and it was only then that I realised that just because there's a wheelchair sign on the door, the practicalities of using that space and how it's laid out, the box was ticked, and this was someone who had very, very good upper body strength.
Yes.
But in terms of the facilities that were actually there, I was like, wow, I did not I just saw the sign and thought, thumbs up, there's wheelchair accessible toilets. But you probably come across things like that all of the time.
Yeah. And like that, I was 46 and I never thought that it would happen to me. But I was aware of from my mum. She was a wheelchair user. But even more that you're aware, Greg, you don't actually know until you're in the situation. It's like anything, like having cancer or terminal illness. You don't know until you're actually in that situation. Like
Fiona, CEO of Spinal Injuries Ireland, Fiona Bolger. We rely on people to make decisions who may not have the understanding that Anne-Marie clearly has. I don't know if they're somewhat insulated from stuff, but you can't imagine a minister for whatever who is responsible. I don't want to make who had a child or a wife or a mother who was affected by this that might not make slightly different decisions. So it's important, isn't it, that people in positions of authority and decision makers attend roadshows like this so they can make informed decisions in reality.
Yeah, that's correct, Greg. And in fact, this is actually our third roadshow that we've done. We did one in 2016, one in 2018 and now in 2022. And, we've been lobbying for the same thing in terms of, if there was one single item that would make a difference to people's lives, is to grant medical cards on needs and not means. And that is just the one single message that we want to get out there to politicians. Today is budget day. From what I can see, I don't think we've had any luck this year again. But we won't give up, and we'll continue to lobby. And hopefully all the politicians in Donegal will support us this evening.
All right. Now, it's in the Radisson Hotel in Letterkenny. Starts at 6 p.m. Is it walk-up affair, Fiona? Can members of the public attend, or...?
Yes, they can. It's actually 6:30, Greg.
Sorry.
6:30 in...
I was trying to get them in early for you, Fiona. You've spoiled it now. Because we're 6 for 6:30 here.
all the sandwiches will be gone by 6:30.
We love a sambo. Okay, so it's 6:30 in the Radisson Hotel in Letterkenny. And, just to even get an insight and an understanding, and I think it's something we all should. And that's the advantage of me presenting a show like this, is that I do get to hear from people like Anne-Marie, whose life just changes, Anne-Marie, isn't it? Just in a almost what feels like in life a blink of an eye, and all of a sudden you're talking about, well, how can I get behind the wheel, or how far can I walk, or how can I manage this pain from nowhere, Anne-Marie?
Yeah, it's devastating, and for my family too. My husband and 3 children. It was devastating. I have a little grandchild now.
Yeah,
I've never carried her. I've never pushed her in a buggy. You know what I mean? It is devastating.
You're robbed of that stuff
every day
as well.
brings us challenges,
because it is with a diagnosis like this, and it's like others. It's the whole family get the diagnosis to some extent. As much as brave mums and dads and children try and protect everyone, everyone's involved. Okay. Anne-Marie, are you going into Letterkenny this evening, or did you just help us tell the story? Okay, lovely. Okay, thanks,
and Greg, can I just say just there before you finish up, that is the one thing that people don't realise is the actual economic impact it has on families with a spinal cord injury. So we know, we've done research that shows that 25% of people are living on the poverty line. So that is a very important, and the medical card obviously plays into that.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. I know that's a key message you're trying to get across, and have done so very well. Fiona, thanks for your time.
Thank you, Greg.
Fiona Bolger, CEO Spinal Injuries Ireland, and also Anne-Marie Weir from Ardra. It's a lovely drive in, Anne-Marie, to Letterkenny. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Okay, take care of yourself. All right, it is the 9 till noon show. Back with more after the break.
The 9 till noon show with St Eunan's GA Club Development Draw. €40,000 in prizes. First prize, a Hyundai Kona car, plus 9 other great prizes. Tickets now available online at steunans.gadraw.com or any club member. Have you a job vacancy that needs urgently filled? Have you tried various ways to find new staff but didn't succeed? Let Highland Radio help you source and fill your current vacancies in the most cost-effective way. Sign up for a job spot and we will tell our 70,000 daily listeners about your vacancies every Monday, Wednesday and Friday during our primetime shows. We will broadcast the latest job opportunities across the Northwest and into counties Derry and Tyrone. All jobs will be listed on highlandradio.com under our job spot section. For more information, contact the advertising team on 07491 5322 or email advertising@highlandradio.com. Highland Radio, delivering your message across the Northwest.
Happy news from Aldi. We've topped the leaderboard at the National Parenting Product Awards with 22 wins, making us the most awarded retailer. There were golds for our organic Mamia baby food range, Mamia Ultra Dry Junior Plus nappies size 5+, and Mamia Premium Newborn Mini size 2 nappies voted the nation's best nappies by parents in Ireland. So, Mum and Dad, not using Mamia nappies yet? Whew, could be time for a change. Aldi, every day amazing.
Join the Highland Roadshow from 11:30 until 2 this Thursday, September 29th, as we team up with Bus Éireann to celebrate their Customer Day at the Letterkenny bus station. We have a cracking music mix and some great merchandise to give away on the day. That's the Highland Roadshow this Thursday morning from 11:30 at the Letterkenny bus station.
Right now, the worst drought in decades is starving people across Ethiopia, Kenya and Somalia. This is a crisis of horrific scale, but together we can save lives. 7 Irish aid agencies have joined forces and are appealing urgently for help to provide life-saving food, water and healthcare. Please visit irishemergencyalliance.org and click Donate or free phone 1800 939 979. Thank you.
The Donegal Pedigree Cheviot Ram and Yo sale takes place on Wednesday the 28th of September in Stranorlar Mart. Show at 5 and sale at 7. This ad is sponsored by BizPrint Letterkenny, making printing easy and affordable.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the programme. Now, a spacecraft has been deliberately crashed into a harmless asteroid millions of miles away by NASA. The craft hit the rocket around 15,000 miles per hour as part of a planetary defence test. David Moore, editor of Astronomy Ireland, is back on the show to help us understand this. Good morning to you, David.
Good morning.
I suppose it's, straight out of a 90s action movie, this, isn't it? I mean, now, obviously, this is a test and there's no risk of setting this asteroid on a collision course with Earth, but, I mean, it is the stuff of movies.
Yes, sort of. There's been the Deep Impact movie and the Armageddon Hollywood blockbusters, but they were all about blowing asteroids to smithereens. You have to make it exciting for Hollywood. This is the actual way you do it. A little bit more pedestrian, maybe perhaps boring, but still worth 300 million euros, this particular mission. And it was just to see, can we hit an asteroid, and how much will we move it by if we do hit it? Because it actually depends on what the asteroid's made of. So the good news is they hit the asteroid perfectly. So no problem there. More or less as we expected, but it's nice to prove the technology. Now all we need to do is find any asteroids with our name on them and make sure that we hit them years, preferably decades in advance, and nudge them ever so slightly out of the way.
Right, so this thing is millions of miles away from us. So really, it perhaps only has to have its course disrupted fractionally. We won't know if that's happened, will we, for quite some time, or it'll take a while, presumably, because we'll be talking probably millions of miles out, a minor movement that hopefully by the time if this were heading to Earth, it would be quite a large displacement of its trajectory.
Yeah, this particular asteroid won't hit us. It's not one of the ones that can hit us. It was a useful test subject, as in no matter how hard we hit it, we couldn't possibly make it collide with the Earth with such a tiny craft. So it was great to do a test on it. But there are other ones. We're up to about 30,000 hazardous asteroids at the moment. But the good news is, if we run their orbits forward, none of them are going to hit the Earth. But we're still surveying the skies, looking for more of these objects. And the idea is that even the spacecraft, although the asteroid's 7 million miles away, it had to travel hundreds of millions of miles to get there. And asteroids will go round and round the sun, probably for decades before they end up hitting us, if we do find one with our name on it. And so if you just nudge them ever so slightly, the Earth's a very small target. We're only 8,000 miles across. So if you can nudge them so that after a few billion miles going around the sun, they just miss us by a few thousand miles, you only need a tiny nudge to do that. And we can calculate that as long as we know how much energy we can kick into the system by hitting it. And there are other ways of doing it apart from running into them like we did last night.
Yeah, now, this has happened before. This is what wiped out the dinosaurs. So there is precedent on the Earth. So it would be naive of us to presume this couldn't happen again. So the better prepared we are for this, the better.
Yeah, indeed. 66 million years ago, a huge asteroid, probably about 6 miles across, hit the Earth. And the devastation that caused in just the days following led to the extinction of the dinosaurs, who'd been a dominant species on the planet for about 150 million years. But they never evolved intelligence enough to build their own space program.
Have you not seen Jurassic Park, David?
Well, it might be a
next
bit fanciful.
Next you'll be telling me that's
Park,
not a documentary.
Well, I didn't see them with any great technology. No. Definitely there were clever dinosaurs around. We have other clever animals on the Earth today, as well as humans, but none of them have developed the technology to send space rockets up.
All right, okay. Listen, and it will be over the next while or so, won't it, before we find out
Actually,
if... Yeah?
It only take a few days. The reason they chose this asteroid, it has a small moon going around it, and the moon goes in front of the asteroid and blocks a bit of the light.
Right.
So although we can't actually see the moon from the Earth, we can measure its effect, and we'll know over the next few days if we have slowed the asteroid down. We will have slowed it down. The question is, by how much? And then that enables us to plan future missions much better. So it was the cover story on the September issue of Astronomy Ireland magazine, and there'll be a big report next month because the mission has been so successful.
Next thing you'll be telling me that I'm able to subscribe to get that magazine.
You certainly are, and astronomy.ie is the website to do it. And there are thousands of people around Ireland, lots of families and kids who get it every month. We cover all the international stories, but especially from an Irish angle. There are a few asteroid experts on this island that will be interviewing us for their opinion.
Lovely stuff. All right, David, thanks for giving us your opinion. Appreciate it as always. That's David Moore there of Astronomy Ireland. Okay, stay with us. Back in a moment.
Would you like to win a Hyundai Kona car? Well, that's the first prize in the St. Eunan's GA Club Development Draw, who are sponsors of this week's 9 till noon show. There's 9 other great prizes, and tickets are now available online at steunensgadraw.com or any club member.
Cutting through the spin. The 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
It's the Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring half-price sale. Get up to 50% off everything in store. All kitchen and bathroom tiles, all wood flooring, all bathware, all cladding. Everything's reduced. It's our biggest ever sale. The Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring half-price sale. Stores nationwide. Sale now on.
For all the biggest names in cosmetics and makeup, visit McGee's Chemist in Letterkenny. Choose from Lancôme and Clarins, Blank Canvas, Inglot, Note, and many more, with a great selection of gift sets also available in-store and online. For any cosmetics or makeup queries, just talk to our resident skincare consultants, Mary or Gemma. McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny, and online at mcgees.ie, where the best costs less.
We wish you a...
It may be too early for Christmas carols, but it's never too early to start the Christmas shopping. Save hundreds, possibly thousands of euros shopping online with Space Hub Derry. We provide a full virtual address mailbox service for all your Christmas parcels and post. Save hundreds, possibly thousands on customs charges this Christmas with Space Hub Derry. Call 04871 878077 for more details. At Bryson Recycling, we love to recycle. We accept a wide range of items at our 6 recycling centres across County Donegal. Located in Dunlow, Letterkenny, Stranraer, Milford, Lahi and Carndonagh. Only €4 per car load of recycling with an extensive free area. And with contactless card payments now available at all our sites, it's even easier to recycle the right way. Check out brysonrecycling.org for more details.
GiveBlood.ie know we can count on you, our community of blood donors, to give blood and to choose to be there for others in their hour of need. Blood donors from Ballybuffet and Dunlow should attend the clinic in Jackson's Hotel in Ballybuffet from Monday 26th to Wednesday 28th of September. Making an appointment is recommended, so call 1-800-731-137 to book your time. New donors are welcome. Visit giveblood.ie to check eligibility and clinic details, because we count on you.
Okay, we're going to return now to the bus story that we started, that touched on in the first hour. I appreciate everyone's patience in this regard. Right, okay, let's go first to Siobhan. Siobhan, good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm okay. Now, just so I'm clear, because I find it hard when you're not on these or around these buses yourself, did you hear a caller earlier on? Would this be the same bus that we're talking about?
It probably is now, but I too got 2 different buses home yesterday from Letterkenny.
Right.
One of them got the local link to Quigley's Point, and then got another bus from Quigley's Point to Carndonagh.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I think it was the earlier bus they got, it wasn't the later bus.
Right, okay. Now, talk to me about your situation. And I think this is as it relates to the actual cost of the bus for your student.
Yeah, I have 2 going to Letterkenny now. It just started yesterday. It's not even the cost. It's even the inconvenience, Greg, of it. There's only one bus from Carndonagh, as I say. It's 7:45 in the morning, and it's McGonagall's that runs it. Now it's €13 return. Now I could drive to Quigley's Point, which is only like 5-10 minutes max, and I can put them on the local link at 8 o'clock for €3 return to Letterkenny. That service is available from Mccarron and Greencastle multiple times a day. As I say, there's only one bus from Cairn, and as I say, that's €13 a day, so that's €65 a week. Whereas, like my nephew would ever get the bus from Quigley's Point for €15 a week to Letterkenny.
It's a big difference.
Do you know?
It's a big.
It is a big difference.
Yeah.
Greg.
And you add it up over a month and then over a year, and we're talking a significant amount of money, particularly in these times, Siobhan.
Yeah, and it's not even that. Like John McGinley can offer a student €20 return from Carndonagh to Dublin, on a daily basis. And it's nothing against McGonagall's. I know they have a service, fair play to them, they're providing the service. But as regards for the students, I think it's, it's expensive. Even
Yeah, and
for them,
we were on, by the way, and we've made contact on a number of occasions with McGonagall's buses. Now, I don't know the ins and outs of it. Some of these routes are going to be better supported or supported by the state. Others are purely commercial. We don't know the ins and outs of it. So it's very likely that McGonagall's have to charge €13 return to cover the cost of the bus, the diesel, the driver, the insurance, and yet the other bus that you talk of, it's probably either subsidised or subsidised more heavy. So this is not about a private company as such. I think it's more about what routes are available and which are subsidised and which are not.
Yeah, but I think like West and Sean should be provided with the same service. Like the students in Carndonagh should be provided with the same service as students in Moville. And my thought on it anyway, and even Mccarron for that matter, it's just the service isn't available. I don't know why half of any show is split down the middle. As regards that transport, the service.
Yeah, and as I say,
I think it's very unfair, and as you say, like if I have two going, that's an extra €100 a week compared to driving to Quigley's Point and putting the two of them on the local link,
Yeah, and I think local reps, the ATU, have all of a say in this as well. The Eamon Ryan has. Do you know what I mean? The whole idea is that we, if we live in rural Ireland without buses, that we have access to them, but also that we get out of the car and get on the bus if we can. And it has to be cheaper than running a car. Yeah, exactly, a dash area as well. Okay.
We're getting lunches provided for kids in school free, and then, as I say, there's buses been put on for, as I say, the Ukrainians to travel from town to town. But I think our own students, our own Irish students, been brought up here, they should be provided with a service. As I say, there's a community school here, there's a tax office, there's the NCT, and there's even people, like say even you wanted to go up to Penny's, if you don't have a car, how do you get?
Or a hospital appointment.
Or a hospital appointment.
Because we do know a lot of services that should be available in Inishowen have been centralised to Letterkenny.
Even to do the theory test or anything.
Exactly,
there's no service available. Now, I was in contact with McGonagall's, and I know there is, you can get the local link to Buncrana and then get their bus from Buncrana to Letterkenny, but it's inconvenience even of that. I think when Cairn is central and Inishowen, there should be something. And it's not just Cairn, it's Malin, it's Clonmany, it's Ballyliffin.
What time do your young ones get into college at, I wonder?
So they got the bus this morning at 7:45. Now, the oldest fellow, he hasn't to start, I think, to 1 o'clock today. So he has all morning to kind of waste about. And then the other one, she's in this morning, and she's not finished to 5:30.
But she starts at 9.
I did text her, and she's in at 9. She's a class at 9 this morning.
And does that bus get her in on time?
Don't think so. No.
You see, but also neither of the two of them are sure they'll have a seat home either. Is that?
Sure, that's what I'm a wee bit. When I heard that then this morning, I'm kind of anxious now. God, will they even get home?
Okay.
Because he's into 5:30 as well this evening. So we it's kind of worrying. I think the demand is there definitely. Like when I dropped them down now, they got the local link yesterday from Quigley's Point. As I say, it's €3 return. Then they got Lucy, she got the bus home from Letterkenny, the McGonagall's bus home, because it suited her, because she was kind of, I think it was a 3:30 bus or whatever. And Daniel, he got the local link back to Quigley's
But I presume
Point.
there's a scenario where there's a load of cars sitting at Quigley's Point in the mornings.
There was.
I mean, that doesn't make much sense, does
7
it?
cars yesterday morning. Yeah, and that bus was full yesterday morning.
Mm.
The McGonagall's bus is full there yesterday morning. I think it should be provided. The service should be provided. The students are there,
Okay.
and even as I say, the community's there even to travel. You know. As you say, the lack of buses going to Letterkenny anyway. Like if there was a border now in Derry, Letterkenny would be our nearest kind of city or place to go to for shopping and stuff, and the service isn't there.
Okay.
Even to you know, but that was my point. You know, it's the inconvenience and the price of it.
Yep.
And I was just wondering who you contact to try.
And as you
bring
say,
it
and some might like not to hear it, but as you say, and this is what I've been talking about on this program for weeks and weeks now, is that you can't help. It's going to be a human situation when you look at people. Obviously, we understand that they're fleeing the Ukraine and the reasons for doing that. But when then you see services coming out of the blue and being made available, it is going to make you think and go, well, what's going on here? And I get that.
Yeah, they can do it for them and they can't do it for their own. You know,
that's it.
I think it's sad. It's very sad that way. You know,
Okay.
It's not a racist comment.
No, but you don't want to be
I just
feeling
think-
that emotion, Siobhan. That's the thing. You see, this is the point I'm trying to make, and this is why I think it's important we talk about it, and no one gets accused of words like you've just used, because this is perfectly human, and you need a space where you have to say, well, what about my 2 children? What about them?
Yeah,
Why can't
that's
things
right.
be fixed as quick for them? And I get that.
Yeah.
And you've made your point well.
Yeah.
Siobhan, thanks for that.
No bother.
All right,
Thank you.
take
Greg.
care. Stay
All right.
listening, by the
All
way.
right.
We're staying on
Bye-bye.
this topic. All right, Shauna, you and we will be rejoined by Regine shortly. Shauna, your daughter, it was her first day in first year yesterday. Is that correct?
It was, yes.
Okay. What's the story?
She headed off yesterday evening. Now, we didn't know if she was actually going to get on the bus in the first place because her class finished at 5:30 and the bus goes at 20 to 6. So we didn't know if she would have that get there in the 10 minutes. But then she got there and I phoned her then to see if she was on the bus. And she says, no, there's about 25 of them standing here. There was no room on the bus. The bus driver made a phone call for another bus to come to lift them, but they didn't know how long they'd have to stand there. And she wasn't home in the house to 10 to 8 last night.
That's a long day on
And we're
day
in
one,
Buncamp.
isn't it?
It is. It is. Now, Wednesday, she's in for a full day today. Wednesday, she's a half day.
Mm-hmm.
So she's in the morning. Her class finishes at 1:30, but the bus goes at 1.
And when's the next bus after that? There's a mid-afternoon bus, is there?
No, the next bus then is the 20 to 6.
Which she doesn't know she's going to get on. She's going to have to kick around.
Yeah.
And she doesn't even actually know she's going to get that. And also, too, I have a feeling a lot of students now will sort of twig this. They're going to go to earlier stops when they can. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To try and get a seat as best as possible. Okay, stay with me. Stay there. Bridgene's back with us. Hi, Bridgene.
Hiya.
Hey, any updates since we last spoke to you?
Nothing like on my end from any of the bus companies. I had messaged them, but I have no reply. And I basically just kind of wanted to say that, like, out of all the universities and colleges in Ireland, like, we're open to 9 o'clock at night, hence meaning students can avail of, like, services like the library, sports, the facilities, the free gym access that we have, study areas to 9 o'clock. But we students who have to take public transport, we're not able to do that, unlike the rest of the country. And Bus Éireann runs a bus as late as 20 to 10 every night from Derry to Letterkenny. But we have absolutely nothing like that over here.
And the way it works with doing studying, and you mentioned accessing libraries, it's not like national school where you finish and you get out the door. You know, there's other stuff that you might have to do on campus associated with your course.
Yeah.
But you don't want to have to be rushing for a bus.
Yeah, so basically, like the woman was saying before, I would be in the
Shauna,
same
yeah.
situation. Like, I started 9:30 in the morning. A lot of my classes and labs don't finish to 5:30 in the evening. The bus is then leaving at 20 to 6. you don't know if you're getting on, you don't know if you're not, and if you do, you're squished in like a tin of sardines, and that's not even a lie. It's so uncomfortable, and you're missing out on 3-4 hours extra that you are really supposed to be spending in college some days, and you have to, but we have no option.
Yeah,
we
what
have
about the
to
cost
just
side
go
of it?
home, or we're not going to get home.
What's your daily charge, Bridgine?
Oh gosh, so I'm going from Mccarron, and as a student, it is €10 every day, so that's €50 a week for Sunday from Mccarron. But I know that anyone travelling from Uris, Kilmany, Malin, Carndonagh, it's anywhere as up to as far as €20 a day, if not more.
Now, of course, you
So
can
I have a
offset
student
that
in my
against
class.
that. Yeah, you can offset that against if you had to get accommodation and all. But there are students in Dublin who are on and off buses all day for effectively what you're paying in 2 days.
Or even 3.
Yeah.
Like a bus in Dublin is what, €2-3 in and out of the city. For them, we don't have that option here. We have so many students, an influx of students from Dublin, Limerick, Longford, Monaghan. There's only so many houses in Letterkenny, even the general public can't even get them. So us students who are actually living here in Donegal, we can't get them either.
So let's get
we
down to
have to live
solutions
further
then.
away.
Let's get down to solutions then, Bridgine, from your perspective. More buses on this route. Maybe a local link bus on this route as well to create more capacity. Is that what we're talking about here? Is that how this is fixed?
For sure.
More
For
regularity
sure.
of
And
service?
If this bus service who has decided they want to do this run, if they are not fit for the purpose, and they are not going to listen to the public and give the
fairness
service.
to them, and I have to be careful here, Bridgine. It's that's a commercial decision, if you know what I mean. Like that, they are, and they have that. This is not the government that's commissioning this. I don't know what would be there if they weren't there. But I understand where you're coming from, your frustration as well. But until such time as I speak to that company, So also a night, a later service as well.
Yeah, well, the college is open to 9 p.m. So I don't like any other university in Ireland. Students can stay in college to college services are closed.
Yeah.
And we don't get that. But I'm not just saying it in the sense of like this bus company itself. I'm saying for the Inishowen people in wider Donegal rural areas. Like why are we still left in this old age system of travel? Like nobody can afford travel. Definitely not students.
No,
you know,
I mean, it's too
some
much.
people can, and they're in that position, and that's fabulous for them. Personally, I can't. It won't happen. I'm in college trying to get an education, so it's someday I can afford to get my own car. But even with the government are here and they're trying to get us to take buses and stop one car travel and all the rest. But how can we do that when we don't even have the facilities to do that?
But even
Bus
Bridget,
Éireann
even
doesn't
Bridget, just
cater
listening
for
earlier
us.
on to a caller talking about a load of cars having to land at Quigley's Point for people to get that bus. I mean, just the notion that there's a load of cars on the road to try and get to a bus in this day and age is crazy.
Just to get,
okay.
But then I have a friend who gets the bus outside ATU. It's the Maville local link bus, and it's cheaper. So he gets the local link bus to Bridgend. He lives in Burnfoot. He gets off at Bridgend, and then he has to walk to his house in Burnfoot because it's much cheaper to get than to get the bus to Burnfoot.
All right,
the other way.
Yeah, Bridgine, thanks for your points. We're going to stay on this, by the way. We've been in contact with the bus company just to get their side of it, because, as I say, they're a private company. Also, Bus Éireann, and also, actually, I'm very interested in Eamon Ryan's department, because he's the Minister for Transport, and we want to see what he thinks. This is young people who are crying out to be able to get to school or college or university on time, maybe even help the environment in the process, and they're not being able to do so. Thanks, Bridgine. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And we'll not leave it there. And Shauna, too, we're not looking for a bus to every door in Inishowen either, Shauna, are we? We're just looking for a flexible, reliable, and relatively inexpensive service. A service that is designed with students in mind when they need to get to college, when they need to get home. Obviously, if it's private, it has to be profitable, but as I say, we're not out with the begging bowl looking for a door-to-door service here either. We just need a good service.
Yes, exactly, Greg. But can I just make a point too on the price? My daughter works in Fawn. When she gets the same bus company, Dairy Bus, to Fawn to go to work, it costs her $120. But when she gets the same company's Letterkenny bus to go to work in Fawn, it costs her $320.
Yeah, okay. There's a lot to unpack there, Shona, and we're going to try and do it. Thanks for your time this morning, and best luck to the family in their studies. We really appreciate everyone's time this morning. And as I say, we want to get all sides to this as well, and we've made those calls in an effort to try and do so.
Would you like to win a Hyundai Kona car? Well, that's the first prize in the St. Eunan's GA Club Development Draw, who are sponsors of this week's 9 till noon show. There's 9 other great prizes, and tickets are now available online at steunensgadraw.com or any club member.
Experience the best of Oma's rich musical heritage through a weekend of music and events from Thursday 29th of September until Sunday the 2nd of October. Enjoy Oma Music Thrill, exhibition voices and stories from the show band era and Oma's trad folk. On Saturday 1st of October, presenting Oma show bands is Highland Radio's Frank Galligan. You'll hear authentic show band sounds from Dominic Kerwin and his band, Ray Moore, Frankie McBride, the Call Brothers, Tony Hutchinson and more. All complemented by a vintage tea dance on Sunday. For more tickets and details, log on to strualartcentre.co.uk.
Fancy a lunch out today? Kelly's Diner in Letterkenny have a menu packed with great value selections, and there's also specials every day. Or enjoy a 3-course Sunday lunch from 12 to 3 for just $16.75. Take a seat for the best value lunch in town at Kelly's award-winning diner, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
Tourism businesses have a brand new mark of employer excellence, driven by the employee's voice. The Employer Excellence Programme recognises employers who consistently create better workplaces for their employees. Attract and retain top talent. Shine the spotlight on your business. The Employer Excellence Programme. Learn more at falterireland.ie.
Green Shoes in Letterkenny and Fulcara have shoes for every occasion. All your favourite brands, from Una Healy, Tommy Bow and Echo, to Kate Appleby, Marcosi and Skechers, plus many more. Shop LK and One for All gift cards are gratefully accepted in store. Green Shoes in Letterkenny at Market Square and Letterkenny Shopping Centre, Fulcara, and online at greenshoes.com. Green Shoes, with the perfect fit for every foot.
Thinking of changing your car for a new car? Get ahead of the queue. It's time to order your new 2023 Kia today. With an award-winning range of vehicles, your next car will be a Kia, we are sure of it. Visit Letterkenny or Malin or imotors.ie.
For a real taste of Donegal, try some new season potatoes from John Edwards & Sons Ramelton. Donegal's finest potatoes, grown and packed in Ramelton by John Edwards & Sons. To celebrate National Potato Day, watch out for packs at special prices in shops throughout Donegal this week.
Is your Skoda a little older? Pre-loved, perhaps? What adventures, I wonder, did it have in the past? Another family, another life, bright city lights? Or a quiet country existence seeing Ireland's best sights? We don't really need your car's story. With a Skoda service, you get a complete vehicle health check, genuine Skoda parts, and free roadside assistance for 12 months.
Your local Skoda dealer is DMG Motors, Clare Road, Donegal Town. Telephone 074 97 21 396 or visit dmgmotors.ie.
You might think you know Ireland's ancient East, but maybe it's time for a closer look. Uncover stories bold and brave where vibrant city nights follow action-packed days. Set course for countless adventures at Carlingford Adventure Centre or roam wild in wonder in the Glen of Aherlow and become captivated by the culture and craft of Kilkenny's cobbled streets. Ireland's ancient East, yours to explore. Keep discovering at discoverireland.ie.
October the 5th is Tyre Safety Day. The Irish Tyre Industry Association, RSA and An Garda Síochána will be roadside, advising motorists to stay safe with regular tyre checks. Dangerous tyres have cost too many lives on Irish roads, and if found driving with defective tyres, you could be liable for a fine and up to 4 penalty points. Always get expert and accurate tyre safety advice from any member of ITIA who will check your tyres for free. Don't chance it, check it. Visit itia.ie to find your nearest registered member.
Are you thinking of transferring your family farm? If so, Teagasc are holding a Transferring the Farm Family Clinic and the Radisson Blu Hotel Letterkenny on Tuesday the 4th of October from 10:30am to 1pm. This is an opportunity to meet with local solicitors, accountants, mediators and other relevant parties to help you make a plan for the future. You can register for this event at teagasc.ie or contact your local Teagasc office. This is a free event and open to everyone.
All right, some of your comments here. A caller says, can someone explain how you use the smart meter to find out what you're using up in power? Is this something else I need to buy? It's certainly something we're going to have to look at, I think. I'm a little bit peeved with the power companies because yesterday, when I had a bit of downtime, I was running through the prices for the available, and the smart meter, a lot of the time, electricity is more expensive. Now, that doesn't sound right to me at all. The whole idea is that the power would be the same, but you could make savings if you used it certain hours or at night time. But the daytime rate, the regular rate, is more on a smart meter. Yes, you can. There are certain schemes with some companies whereby you can save money overnight or in certain windows of time. But those things are being sold to us, and people have mentioned it on this program as a means to save money and control your power usage. But if that's not the case, we don't want to have to be sold a pop either. So we're going to get all over that. And also, it's going to be years before they're usable in terms of tracking your power usage in real time. That is another thing that I wasn't told either, that it might be the next day or the day after before you find out what your usage was. On a Monday, you find out on a Wednesday. That's not much use either. So leave that with us. That's something that requires... more investigation. Greg, in relation to Ukrainian cars driving around, if you drove around in a northern car, it would be lifted. Indeed, and I get that, but there is a diktat down from Garda HQ in terms of licenses as well, of course, licenses exchange and that type of stuff. My understanding is that the guards have been briefed on the situation and have translated that where need be and passed that information on. My son's class finishes at 5:30. The bus that leaves Letterkenny at 5:40 was left already at 5:38. I had to drive to collect him as he was left stranded because the bus had left before the scheduled time of 5:40. He hadn't been told another bus would get him. We're getting quite a few stories like that as it relates to the bus service, particularly for ATU students, but not exclusively for ATU students going to Letterkenny. We're going to have to return to it. If you want to get involved in that conversation, you can contact us on our social media, text or WhatsApp 086 60 25,000 or call us on 074 91 25,000. But that's where we have to leave it for this Tuesday. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.